roll.
No. Oh, wait. There we go.
Oh, wait. That microphone's not plugged in.
No, that microphone was on the top of my head. Sorry. Is that really loud?
You went from like quite distant to I am eating the microphone.
Is that any
These
better? I'm not
These
even...
are really small, whereas those are far away.
Quite. How are you, Benj? You feeling
I'm-
better?
Better in what regard?
Well, the one I was talking to you on Facebook a few weeks ago.
Oh. I don't know. Less angry, more miserable.
Oh,
I don't know if that's better.
Good?
Good.
goodish.
Goodish.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Modern life is goodish, yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with goodish. That would do.
So, what
It's
do we
like
want
Dave
to talk
Gorman,
about?
wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was Dave Gorman.
I wasn't sure.
Part of the Golden Crucible.
Uh,
Brother to one of them.
He's right here.
Yeah. Did you get DC Wolf? Or
I haven't got any of that stuff, no.
yeah.
Have you signed up for that? I haven't signed up for any of that.
Oh no, DC Wolf was a PG one.
Oh, no, I didn't. No. I didn't get the last PG model or anything. Not that I didn't get the... No.
No, there'd be no way he had that.
I was going to say that the PG Booker is still on the desk. So
No, I don't know if it ever appeared for me. They said it was sending it and it never happened, so I was like, whatever.
fair enough.
I gave it away.
Oh, did you?
Well, I sold it. I wouldn't say gave it away. That would imply that no money changed hands.
Basically, you sold it.
Yeah, I sold it.
Yeah, to be fair, the press gang doesn't exist anymore, so there is no contract there to say, "Oh, you can't get rid of this." So,
It didn't fit in with anything, and my mate gave money. So yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
Right, gents. What do we want to speak about this evening? Because
Is there no chance of an Alex, I take it?
I don't think he's even checked the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his return was slightly, I think.
He seemed keenish.
Did he? I didn't even see the post, so...
No, well,
Yeah,
I directly messaged him and he seemed interested, but...
Okay.
He said about 3 lines. He's not really done anything since like June.
Apart from hockey or whatever.
Yeah,
Wherever he's playing.
I'm blessed. He's in a better place than he was.
Yeah, much.
But yeah, if you're listening, Alex, we do hope you come back soon. Just like after
Just
the
interrupt him, because otherwise I have to do
I was
it.
going to say after the introduction, so that we can have a proper show. So, gents, what do we fancy talking about today? I know I'm guessing you want to talk Crucible Guard.
Well, I've heard of it, yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, fair enough.
It's ordered. And I've been going through all my mercs and everything, but I'll talk about it.
Anything you want to talk about, Benj?
I like the look of Crucible Guard.
So we're doing a Crucible Guard episode.
I guess.
Is there anything else you want to throw into that as well? I'm quite excited, although I haven't got anywhere near it yet, for Montpoc as well.
I haven't really looked at it, to be honest.
I have a little bit.
I'm looking forward to... Oh, I played Rising Sun, by the way.
There you go. Games.
Oh,
Maybe we can talk about that. That was interesting.
I was going to play Company of Iron on Tuesday, but I was ill.
A light excuse.
Well, I can cough all the way through without muting, if you like, just for effect.
Has been a new steamroller, if I can ever bloody get to it.
All right, let's kill my download thing, because otherwise it's going to screw everything up. I could already hear it going wrong. Right. Yeah, there has. I haven't looked at it in detail yet. I did watch a lot of the streaming.
Oh, you went a bit flaky there for a second, Kurt?
Yeah, well, I've killed that now.
Okay, fair enough.
I did watch a lot of the Lock and Load stuff, new games and bits and pieces, new Steamroller, but that's my own experience to new Steamroller. I haven't looked at it properly yet.
I did watch the Lock and Load thing, so we can maybe talk about that. And then most people were a bit skeptical of the need of that game.
Oh, okay. Yes, the one that looked like, and no offense to Privateer Press here. The one that looked like it was animated by a 5-year-old.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone was like, that trailer was hot garbage.
Yeah, it was bad. It was ill-conceived.
I don't get it. What is it? Sci-fi with
think-
Striker? What?
No.
I don't get it.
It's a post-apocalyptic War Machine world.
Yeah.
It just looked bad.
And I'm going to be fully honest here. It looked terrible. If you're going to come out with a concept like that, you come out with it kind of fully formed. Nice.
Maybe they're just short of artists in the organisation. I don't know.
What, has Matt Wilson died?
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
To be honest, the Infernals thing looks a kind of a bit weird.
I think they're going for a bit weird with that though.
No, I meant the art just didn't look like there was any real effort. The reveal didn't look like there was as much effort. For instance, there wasn't like the Crucible Guard shot.
But don't forget, when they initially released, when they did initial block previews of both Crucible Guard and the Grimkin, it was basically like 10 seconds of stuff.
It was. I went back and looked, and I was like, "Oh, was that all that was?" Oh,
yeah, because we didn't see like major bits of Grimkin until like SmogCon last year.
It was just because of the quality of that thing, that hideous game, which I call it Riot Quest, is it called? It just the quality. I mean, I'm interested in Infernals because I'm interested in how they're gonna fuck that up, how they're gonna balance basically.
Well, they're going to be a new War Machine faction, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, but they're going to break every rule. They're going to be more rule breaking than the Legion.
Yeah.
They're going to power their jacks or whatever they've got in a completely different way.
Yeah,
it is Riot Quest. It is 3 minutes of hot video garbage.
I was afraid that
was it made in Flash? Do you think? Looked like it's made in Flash.
Yeah, it did look like.
I don't even think it used anything that advanced.
I think it was an amateur project for like a local unit college or something like that.
This is the thing. I really don't want someone who's kind of poured some time into that to feel bad, but they do need to step back.
They should feel bad.
And it's not good. Well, no, because
I don't want to feel bad, but they should feel bad. I don't want them to, but they should.
But they should.
If I could give honest criticism, it's like the artwork was subpar. I mean, how it was animated was kind of okay, but the artwork itself that they were animating on was poor. And it's one of the few times I've ever seen Privateer Press put something out, and almost university people have gone, "Oh,
yeah,
oh, that looks a bit pay as you go."
Yeah, good words. Yeah,
yeah.
I just didn't see the need for it. Like I don't.
And then right after you had the Fires of War, which was like, ooh, new and interesting War Machine and Horde stuff.
Yeah,
that's got really nice concept art.
It's got production values that had production values. That was the word you're looking for.
What the hell is going on? It almost looks like it's two separate companies, and they've brought the intern in for a day.
It did make me think of the card games. Did make me think of those kind of, because when they used to do little kind of training things for those, they were sliding animation things, weren't they? Scrapper's card game sort of thing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I don't even think. I think they were better advertised than that was. It was truly appalling.
But that was kind of a different company. That's what made me think of it. Tinker Games made those, didn't they? Was that right or not? Somebody else?
No, Tinker House was the app.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah.
That was the original. Well, it still is. War.
Yeah.
Actually, did they make War Room?
Yeah, they do.
too?
You're right. It's War Room, isn't it? That's what,
Yeah,
you're right. I've got my wires crossed completely.
I'm trying to actually remember. See if there's like a guide to the differences between last year's Steamroller and this one's. Like there's one change of scenario, and that's really about it.
Is there one extra scenario?
It's not an extra scenario.
Oh, is it not? I thought we had an extra one. That's it. Yeah. And even even the last few though, they've reverted a name, or the Outflank, Outfight, Outlast went from being called to Outlast and then to being called Outflank or something, didn't it? It was kind of a
I'm waiting for it to be called Outlast. Yeah.
I just don't understand why they're trying to diversify the portfolio so widely again after quite a few failures in that kind of.
Because they do that and something might take off and click and that make them money because that's what they're about, really.
Yeah, I understand.
It's the same thing GW does, same Fantasy Flight does. You have your core money spinners, and then you launch stuff and see if it sticks. And if it does,
and sometimes you pretend it's a new main game that only lasts 2 years because that's how long the movies last.
Funny that.
I know. Rough to Mordor. Wait, what?
So let's have a look. So scenario-wise for Steamroller, we got the Pit 2, which is pretty much the same. Standoff, which is pretty much the same. Spread the Net, which is exactly the same. Invasion's new. That's the new scenario. So that's got 2 circles 6 inches in from the board edge. It's got a rectangular zone, sort of with its thin end toward the players, and an objective at either end of the.
Wait a minute. Zone. Can I go back to my incomplete thought 1 second?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know. I understand what you're saying about a business being a business and doing new things and trying to expand IPs, but how about just trying to do one thing really well at least?
Well, that won't make enough money.
But will putting resources into a game that potentially won't have...
because I would say that there's a ceiling on one game, and War Machine has got to the point where it arguably saturated it on a worldwide level to the point where they couldn't either keep up or there was an issue with it. I don't think... So look at 40K. 40K, one of the most successful games of in any genre, anything worldwide, and yet that still would stale if they just left it or just focused on one game.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think there's a parity there between GW and PP, because the game that they're is not... It's taking from their franchise that they have that's still not as established as it may have reached saturation, but it's not as established as Warhammer, as that brand is. These characters, to create weird and wacky characters and then just throw your token elf assassin lady in there as well, who's like the only recognizable sort of character. It just didn't. I don't understand.
I think it's a random punt. I agree it is. I don't necessarily think it's for me, but I don't see it as a weird thing to do. I think it's an interesting thing to throw in.
There are people saying that it's kind of it's meant to be based around the kind of the hero shooter MOBA kind of thing as a development, which is where Aristea's going for Infinity.
Yeah, they're late on that bandwagon though. If they're like mechs and minions, and they already capitalized on their own MOBA.
As far as I'm concerned, that genre was developed, peaked, and died years ago.
Yeah,
because the World of Warcraft miniatures game came out, was fantastic, and got canned. And if you talk to either myself or Nick, we will defend that game to the death because it was bloody amazing.
Was it a MOBA? Was it a MOBA game though? I mean, I look at a MOBA game and I think of Rum and Bones, for instance, or
so it was. It was like a MOBA in that you had a hex map, which had victory point areas on it, and essentially you had this constantly respawning set of heroes, and each one had an inbuilt clock. So every time you used an ability that caused a cooldown, let's say your clock's on 2 and it uses up 3 ticks, you set your clock to 5, and then you can't act again until turn 5. So every character is acting in different orders, and they're all kind of, you get your independent respawns and capturing flags, and it was very much that kind of hero and ability based game.
Okay, but was there a feeding off of a minions type system which defines MOBA more than?
It was closer to the hero shooter model.
Okay,
good.
But even then, getting that kind of minion feeding thing in a board game is you're there for the heroes, you're not there for that.
Oh yeah, sorry to keep going back to it, and I won't go back to it in the episode. I just don't understand. I understand what you said, Kurt, and it makes perfect sense to me. I don't understand their rationale at all.
Again, the rationale is they will keep trying things. If they are bad,
any organization. So this is public sector as well. So this is there's even an edict on it regarding NHS that trusts are required to at a certain point to, if they're not trying to expand, then they will be financially penalised. So if you sit back on your laurels and just focus on one thing, your money gets taken away gradually. So that's mimicking. They do that, but that's mimicking the commercial world. If you sit back and you just focus on one thing, like you said, if you try and just put all your eggs in one basket or even in two baskets, generally speaking, unless you're trying to expand and trying new things, you're going backwards. If you're not going forwards and expanding and trying to enhance your business, this is any business, then you're dying.
Again, I understand that because of video games and trying to come up with, you can't rest on your laurels, basically.
I also understand what you mean, that it's infuriating when you've got a game that you love and you want them to focus on it and do things with it and expand it. Although, in fairness, they are. I mean, CID is changing. I mean, it's taken me quite a long time to kind of get my head around CID. I didn't like it for a long time. It made me feel like the game was so complicated and changing so much I couldn't keep track. But when you look at what actually changes at the end of a CID, it's very little each time.
Yeah.
And once I realised that, I was like, oh. And I started watching their videos on a Wednesday. And that helps as well. Of kind of, I don't have to play 6 games a week to keep up with the changes and feel like I'm up to date, which is quite a change for me because I was really feeling like I couldn't play this game anymore.
Well, tell you what, should we?
Let's do a podcast, yeah.
And you can introduce me to the Crucible Guard.
Okay.
Because I've read nothing.
Oh, I could do that. I could get right back to the beginning. So I go and get my escalation book. Yeah. I can find it. It's upstairs.
Fair enough. Hello and welcome to Elite Cadre, the Hordes and War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously or broadcast too often. I'm Mike.
Yeah, not too often. That'd be too. I'm Kurt.
Yeah, you don't want to sound like a broken record, Ben.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've all got lives, or at least a reasonable facsimile of life.
Yeah, a semblance of a life, a précis of a life.
Précis?
Yeah.
What's coming next?
I don't know. That was my big word. Sorry.
That's a good word.
What I have is a series of hobbies that pass for an existence.
I don't even get hobby time anymore. That's a lie, because I did have a little bit of hobby time. But
if we did this more, I'd have more hobby time. It's always, I tend to do stuff when we do this.
Oh, there we go. See?
I tend to procrastinate while I do this.
What we need to do is see how much Crucible Guard Kurt can finish by episode 100.
But
what paint scheme are you going for? Because I like the turquoise.
I think it's going to be a lot of purple and a lot of gold. I start with that premise because without jumping the gun, because of layout.
Yeah. So going 3 steps back here, we've just had. I say just. It was week and a half, 2 weeks ago now, maybe more. Who knows? We've had Lock and Load, and there were various bits and pieces there, including the big launch of the Crucible Guard, the new faction for War Machine, the remnant of the Alchemists of Lael. Is that fair?
Yeah, there's more, but yes.
Okay, well, let's let Kurt kind of drone on and send you to sleep about it.
What? Okay. I haven't played much War Machine. A little bit here and there, a little bit of Trolls, a little bit of Menoth, and this has really pulled me back in. I really want to play a lot more with Crucible Guard, mainly because it draws back. It's the first book I bought.
Okay. Well,
the first story I really got into was the Escalation book, the second book of War Machine in Mark 1, Escalation. Mm-hmm. And in Escalation, the narrative moved on, which was a novel thing at that time, because previous to that, Games Workshop and similar games, they stayed the same. I know now everything's been moving on in the worlds of Warhammer and Age of Sigmar. Yeah, it's changing everything every 10 minutes. But
well, that's been a relatively much later development. The whole thing with 40k for years, where it was locked at 2 minutes to midnight. You'd got these characters who were like from the deep past who you could play, like Commissar Yarrick, but the current time was always 2 minutes to midnight.
They expanded the past. You could get more and more past, couldn't you? You could always read more. There's more 30k, or the 30k stuff happened, and more detail around that. And that was go back when I was first playing 40k. The 30k was the kind of a rumor thing. It was kind of touched on, gradually hinted at, and more came out gradually. But so Escalation came out. When was that? 2005, 6. And there was narrative story in that progressed the story into the next year from the original Prime, and that fascinated me, and I loved the story that happened. So the short version of what happened in the story was Cadre invaded Lael. Lael, little country, kind of next to Signar, next to Cadre, further over from Ord, got invaded by Cadre in a very gruesome and brutal way. Signar made a half-assed attempt to help defend it because they were kind of a protected ally. And there were some stories, and there's a color scheme in that book for having I can't remember which legion it is actually, which regiment or whatever it is that defended Lael, but there is a kind of a semi-purpley, a grey with purple shoulder pad, and the crest on, to have defending Lael, and I liked that. I like the story. I like underdogs, and I like that kind of trodden down. So I always had ambitions of kind of doing Lely's resistance mercs. To the point where I have a Bocker, which is got a Lael shield, just found, which is good for radio, holding models up.
Yeah.
So that's what happened originally, going back a long way. And the Lely's resistance has gradually been expanded by baby steps. The first issue of No Quarter was where we first met Ashlyn, and that kind of concept. But things came out very, very slowly for that. It was never really a faction. It's only recently become a proper kind of mercenary force.
Well, it took until Mark III to actually get real Thorn gun mages.
Yeah.
And even then, most people don't play them, and they should feel ashamed of that because the Thorn gun mages are quite good.
Quite expensive for 3 models, aren't they? But yeah.
Yes, but this is the thing. I found people tend to leave them alone, oddly, which...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might paint some Signar over to it and try them and see what I feel. I know they've got 2 guns and not things, but anyway. So we've had gradual progression to it, and then we had Menoth later on. I can't remember which book that happened in. Came up the river and kind of rescued, in quote, Lael, or half of it. And then in the background, in some of the stories, things I haven't read, where we're sort of heading was the ruling body of Lael was the Order of the Golden Crucible, which was the gun mages worked for back then. They were also they were an alchemist organization, and the alchemists, part of that organization, fled to Ord after a while when it became clear that Lael wasn't going to stand. I'm sure we'll get comments and things that I'm getting some of this wrong. It's all from memory. I'm not reading anything. And then jump forward even further. Excuse me, to last year. And they announced the Crucible Guard was coming out, which was basically if you like, an Ordic army at its core, but funded by the Order of the Golden Crucible with mixed aims and goals. So some of the ruling body are kind of aiming at Lael, but most of it is just at wreaking their revenge against those that persecuted them in the past. So it is taking the oldest warjack that was ever around, which is the Toro? Yeah, isn't it?
Something like that.
There was some bits in there that so one of the best books that actually came out that was before the Skull Island expeditions was in Thunder Forge, which was the Fall of Lael series, which started off actually with a bit where the Alchemist Guild was infiltrated by a spy, basically, who stole a formula, and it's to do with Catherine Lattimore, basically, and a motley crew trying to deal with that situation, basically, kind of like Saving Private Ryan-esque kind of story.
Cool.
Matt focused a lot on Lael.
I've read that. I might check that out.
It's I'll post the link here.
Cool.
It's a good book. It was supposed to have a sequel from the Cadre and Widowmaker perspective, and then Skull Island came and fucked it all up.
Well, wasn't that the one where it's like they got like publishing rights with a publisher for so many books, and then they didn't continue with them because reasons, and now they can't go back to what they've done? And
yeah, pretty much they can't continue that story, and the second book probably I think was actually written, but probably will never see light.
Yeah. It's it was like the whole thing of why Monpok went away for a while, we think.
although we don't know now that it's coming back, it's even more confusing. But anyway, yeah.
I'm guessing a deal has expired that allows them.
Yeah, that's probably right.
The author of the book has written a lot of fantasy stuff. He's written stuff for Dungeons and Dragons, all published. He's for Magic the Gathering's storyline for Vampire the Masquerade. So he's quite a well-published author, and it really did read very well. So I would recommend it, Kurt.
Cool, I'll have a look. So the short version is from What is the Army? It's an army of Gorman. It's based around Gorman in a kind of a crude way. It's an army of alchemists. But it can use forces from the Lily's Resistance as mercenaries, even in the theme forces, which kind of help round it out and make it quite nice. But it just appeals from that whole kind of, in that I always wanted to build this Lael army, and you couldn't, and you can do the Merc version, and I know it's got close now. I mean, we're a lot closer than we ever were.
Yeah.
Going back to the day, it was use steelheads and pretend they were kind of Lely's militia, and that was kind of cool at the time. Early Mark II.
Steelheads now aren't even allowed in the Lely's army.
No, not are they? No.
Which goes back to the 5-star kind of way of things, I guess. Do you remember the various different?
4-star.
Yeah.
4-star. Yeah. Sorry, 5 stars are petrol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 4-star. In the days of your bench.
You're thinking of the band, though. I think Ben's trying to deny it.
What band? What? No, I'm not even trying to. I know that kind of sounds like.
Sorry.
Right.
He's only wee.
Yeah, I'm not singing. Not with this voice. Yeah, so it just I've had that appeal, and I have to admit, I've been a bit. I don't know. I've wanted to get back into War Machine, and kind of. I kind of have agreed with some of what Ben just said, and the last kind of, I don't know how many issues of this where I felt a bit kind of like, meh, and 40k happened in a big way. I like the resurgence of Games Workshop and the new 40k, but something about having an army based around these kind of dejected citizens of Lael, or the alchemists and the really cool bits of Lael from before, having their own army, which is Ordic as well, but it being this kind of not mercenary army, but not quite, but kind of, but doing their own thing. I like that, and I quite like that it's a contained army. That yes, they will throw odd things into it going forward in the future, because they already are with the other things that are out there with Convergence, and they are throwing odd models out, but they're not getting full blown kind of expansions. And I quite like the fact it's contained, meaning that I can have one small case, I can get everything in it except the Colossal and probably the tanks. Probably the trains aren't going to fit, are they?
No. Yeah. I really do like the artwork and the style. And the only one that I didn't like was the heavy infantry, but I
like those. That. Yeah, I like those a lot. But yeah,
I can live with them. If I was actively playing the game, I would definitely pick up the box. I just noticed something with the next Black Anchor Industries thing, which is the Men Off Shrine.
Yeah,
you can get a free oven mitt if you order it. A free oven mitt. The fuck?
Let's hope it's exactly as good as those Loot Crate Thanos ones. Did you ever hear about those?
No. Yes, my friend's got one.
Yeah. So Loot Crate. I realize this is a bit of a divergence, but we'll go with it. Loot Crate, as part of one of their random crates, gave out an oven glove which was themed in the style of the Infinity Gauntlet. One problem, they never actually bothered to check if it was heat resistant.
Oh my god.
So people were using it and it was melting to their skin.
It was decorative only.
Yes, and they hadn't put that on there. So they were in quite a bit of trouble.
Oh dear.
Yes. So if you do get a purely decorative oven mitt, just maybe don't use it.
Or use it as tea towel.
Yeah. I mean, to be sure, they are the Infinity Stones. You do have to be able to wield them. You know, you've got to have the power.
It's very true. Yes.
I don't think in an oven glove you can really snap your fingers. So
I'll give it a try next time I'm getting a pizza out of the oven. let you know how it goes.
Like, that extent if you're baking, your oven is used for pizza.
Yeah, it's a pizza oven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord! I've just seen the size of the men off. Was it Shrine of the Lawgiver?
It's huge.
Yeah, Shrine of the Lawgiver.
Massive.
It's bigger than their Colossal.
Yeah, much.
To be honest, you can just get you can proxy it with the battle engine quite easily.
You could proxy it quite nicely with some MDF bits of church and glued to a CD.
or with that stupid terrain piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
GF9 did years
GF9 one, yeah.
utterly unplayable.
You need to butcher the base, but yeah.
You would, but that'd be right. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things you could. I can't imagine me doing that.
CD, for instance, that works.
How much are they asking for?
A lot. Enough to make you whinge.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, I know that the railless tank things. They're not. Yeah, that's it. They're going to be available normally. Now,
they are.
So. Yeah. Apart from the Warcaster, supposedly.
I think that's speculation. I think she's either going to be in every box or she'll be a little blister add-on because it's basically going to be it's a figure that you stick on top, isn't it?
Yeah.
And different guns bits.
Gun bits. I hope it's not like a Titan where you have to spend £40 for those extra gun bits or whatever.
Well, they've only got 5 Warcasters. You can't make one impossible to get, can you?
Don't know. They can try.
I know they could, but yeah.
Did you get
the railless interceptor and going? That's a bit silly.
I love them. They remind me of Dominion Tank Police.
Yeah, me too.
3 different sprays, a range 14, POW 15 AOE for a gun.
Yeah.
Concealment while within 3 inches. Reposition 3.
Well, that's just the war wagon describing with a hell of a lot more armor. And yeah.
How many boxes is it?
It's got more boxes than anything ever, hasn't it? It's got 38 boxes or something like that. Something like that.
36, I think.
Is it?
36.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, only armor 19 though. Come on.
I'm not rushing to get it, but at some point it will happen.
It'll see more play than the dwarf one will.
Haven't you got 2 of those?
No, I've only got 1.
Okay.
It's never been on the table.
It's never been out of the box?
I have, in fact... No, I've glued it. It's behind me. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
I have, in fact, only ever played Colossals twice in Mark III, and it was at the same event.
That's depressing.
I played Gargantuans. I haven't played Colossals very much. Ever. I played Gargantuans because troll ones.
Yeah. You never owned a Colossal?
I have the Signar. First Signar one is still in bits somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so is mine.
I can see a bit of it up there, and that's it. I think I own 3 Gargantuans.
But I feel we're getting a bit off topic here.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about the Crucible Guard here? Come on.
What about gameplay or star? I mean, star-wise, they're an unusual army in the sense that they are an army of chemists and alchemists. So they are an army that is drawn from a kind of almost a kind of neighborhood or part of Ord that specializes in this. So they are everything from alchemists that are learning, experimenting, and trying new things, and those that look after them. So the heavy infantry are literally their kind of first responders. They are dressed to protect themselves from scientists' accidents. One of the classes is basically like an Uber Gorman. So Silvestro is pretty much Gorman on steroids.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now.
Like he really is epic Gorman, the Warcaster. He really is.
Yeah, the Fulmination Grenade. This weapon gains additional damage rolls against constructs and undead.
Yep.
I mean, okay, only range 6, but yeah, Weapon Master power 13 grenades against undead and constructs. That seems quite good. Spell list seems interesting as well.
The bottom spell is his unique spell is either an armor and strength buff to his own troops, or a debuff if you cast it on the opponents for the same thing. Same spell.
Yeah. So +2 strength and death and gain Pathfinder, or -2 strength and death and lose Pathfinder.
Yeah, and they have tons of ways to chink armor with. So they have a unit of of alchemists, combat alchemists that are like a unit of minor Gormans. So they throw different kinds of grenades, including smoke bombs, and they have prows. They stand in their smoke. They gain stealth. They stand right out in front. They have advanced deploy, so they go at the front. So my thinking is 6 of those at the front, right at the front, smoke screen, a bit like you used to do with druids, and then debuffing after that, knocking armor down.
The feat is pretty nuts as well.
Oh, his feat is bizarre, isn't it? It's like signs of importance, but you choose which one you take away in order to incur crits, because most of the army has a crit on its weapon.
Yeah.
What else do they have? Basic infantrymen with guns that shoot lots of different types of weapons. But a lot of their guns shoot multiple types of ammo. In fact, almost every gun does that in the army. The heavy warjack is based around the earliest heavy warjack from the front cover of the original role-playing game, which I believe is the Toro.
Yeah. So
refitted and modernized, but they are. There's 2 other versions that have. I'm trying to find out. So we've got the Toro is the basic one.
The suppressor,
and the Toro.
Oh, the Toro's not listed on mine. That's
the Toro isn't
mercenary, isn't it?
So yeah, it is a mercenary jack as well. The Vindicator is their kind of reckoner type jack. So it's got a raised gun and it's got a big mace. Again, shoots multiple different types of weapons. The Suppressor has 2 fists and sprays on the backs of his fists. Again, multiple different types of sprays.
I will say I am quite happy that the Toro is a Merc Jack, because having a 13-point Warjack with countercharge and a PNS 18 sword, that's quite tasty.
There's a lot of talk that's going to replace the Nomad in a lot of places.
For 2 points more?
You get a hell of a lot more.
For 1 more armor.
1 more defense.
I mean, you lose a point on the shield, point of damage, but you gain countercharge, which is kind of nuts.
And you gain a death as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, only up to death 11, which is...
I know, it's not much.
10 to 11 is neither here nor there. 11 to 13 is way bigger, but...
True, yeah, very true, yeah. And then we get to the more weird and wonderful. So that's the kind of like basic idea, but the weird wonderful Crucible Guard rocket men. Flying, high def, grenade bomb throwing rocket men. Think the Rocketeer and a whole unit of them, and that's about right.
So for reference to what Kurt's just saying, so you've got a unit that is speed 7, def 14, rats, well, they're all ranged, so it's rat 6 is their important one, with flight, gunfighter. They've got a gravity bomb, which is range 4, AoE 3, power 12.
They're immune to their own bombs.
Yes, which doesn't affect models with flight and ignores cover and elevation.
Yep.
But is also cumbersome. A carbine, which is neither here nor there. Yeah. And strafing run. So effective models gain +2 speed and reposition 5 this turn.
The unit attachment grants them a +2 def buff as well, and almost every single caster has some way of buffing a unit's defense. So they can easily go def 16 if they want to.
Man captain who's got 2 carbines, because why not?
Why not?
Oh, granted dodge, so def 14 troops with dodge. Swift hunter. So now defensive action does clash with their other orders, so they can't.
It does. You can do one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do the high speed. You can either be high speed or high defense.
Yeah.
And yeah, def 16 troops that don't suffer blast damage with dodge that's up there on the irritation scale.
There's a lot of stuff in the army that you look at the basic stat and you go, it's all right, and then you look at the special rules. So the heavy infantry, the stat line is pretty basic, but then you realise that they are. I think they've got Ashen Veil, or they stand in a cloud all the time, effectively, and they all have carapace. So
it's the assault troopers.
Yeah, well, both the assault troopers and the stormtroopers. So they both have carapace, which means that they're only armor 16, except they're armor 20 against free strikes and ranged attacks.
Yeah.
So they will get into combat and they will hurt you. And I just quite like the not tricksiness of it, but I like the way that it's a small army. It's going to be contained. It's not quite as over the top as Grimkin, but it's going to take some doing to kind of understand how all these things fit together. I quite like that.
I've just looked at their equivalent of the trenchers. So they have a basic attack. This attack causes magic damage. On critical hit, upkeep spells and animo on the model immediately expire.
On basic troops.
Yeah, on base. That's their. Was it 915?
Yeah.
Basic, like, trenchers.
They've got dispel.
Basically. Yes.
Wow. Effectively.
Dispel and magic weapons on demand.
On guns. Are they on guns?
Yeah. Yes. Guns. Range 12 guns. Range 12, power 11 guns.
Power 11? Wow.
With CRA.
Wow, they're a big bunch of cunts, aren't they?
With lots of ways to drop the defense and the armor of things they're shooting at.
What, multiple Gorm and sort of debuff type things?
Type stuff all over the place,
and if you take the unit attachment, they've got mage static as well.
Add +5 range to the spells.
Yeah. Oh, and a mini feat for dual shot.
Wow.
I like them.
There's nothing like power creep in the game. Is there?
I mean, don't. Okay, at that point, it's like 19 points for a unit, which
does so much.
But it's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's quite flexible, and they're Def 12 armor 14, so they're going to drop like flies.
Yeah.
And they don't have things like digging, like trenchers, so you've got to try and make them a bit more survivable.
So you make it survivable by having combat arcanists at the front with clouds, and you make them survivable by upping their def or upping their armor with spells. So
yeah, it definitely looks to be an army that's got to get by on its synergies. It's got some great outstanding stuff.
Yeah,
but you've got to deliver it.
I really like those smaller armies where the synergies are more apparent, and you don't have to go digging for them. You don't have to wait until some tournament winner has found the only way, basically. At least if it's all on the cards, as it were, you can. Sorry, go.
They've even got a pretty good journeyman.
Is it a character, or is it just a
Prospero? Prospero's amazing.
So it is a character, but guided fire, which they've got a decent amount of range weapons, so that's fine. It's got range 10, power 12 gun, 2 power 12 melee weapons, focus 4, that's pretty decent for a journeyman. It's got a cost 1 spell. Target for any warjack stands up, is no longer stationary, and can turn to face any direction. If it was disrupted, it is no longer disrupted, and gains up to 3 focus points and gains unstable for a turn. So it can explode. But
what's the explosion? Power 14 or
power 14 blast damage roll to models within 3 inches.
What's his? He's got another ability that you missed.
Well, I hadn't got down to
Arcane Shield,
Field Marshal Dispel, or Veteran Leader Warjack.
Wow!
So if the jack is within 8 inches of him, it gets +1 on all its to hit rolls.
Wow,
awesome.
That is bonkers.
I like the warlock attachment, Alice. Who basically is this little girl who gives things like harmonious exaltation and feels a little buff. She's quite cool, except that when she dies or she chooses to drink her. So we have alchemists that throw grenades and throw stuff and do weird things. We have them that make things fly, and go beyond that. We have them that screw around with potions. So she basically can at any given point drink her magic potion, or when you kill her, she automatically drinks it, and she goes from being basically a standard little kind of infantry girl who buffs a bit like the Hierophant to being a medium base combat monster with 8 wounds and I don't know.
Ironically called Big Alice.
Claws and tough. And tough. And hyper regeneration and counter charge.
And breather. This model does not suffer gas
but most of the army has breather,
Jump?
Then you've got her husband.
Wait, it has jump.
Yes, it has jump.
Fuck. Sorry, carry on.
Then you've got her husband, who is I'm just going to call his card up now. Who is was probably a journeyman. That was about as good as he was. until he started drinking potions and messing about, and he managed to turn himself into a warcaster by drinking potions. So let's find his card a minute. I'm trying to remember his name.
Wait,
he is.
Doesn't that screw with the idea?
It's Lucas.
Doesn't that screw with the idea though that
Lucas Demare?
Yeah.
To the Focus 5-1.
Wait. Doesn't that screw with the idea that warcasters were, or the whole idea that arcane power, as it were, was given by the gods basically to
So
man?
this isn't creating a warcaster from nothing. It's enhancing his abilities through drinking dodgy potions.
Oh, so he was already.
That's what I said. He was probably a journeyman, but through drinking. So he's a Focus 5 caster, except he has this juicing ability where he can gain focus up to. He can drink 3 like vials of potion up to 3 a turn, and gains a focus for that round for each potion he drinks. He takes wounds for each ones that he ends up keeping. So basically, he can take damage from it, but he can buff himself by drinking potions.
Wow.
So he can go to Focus 8.
And he has rapid healing as well.
Oof.
When this model removes juice tokens while within little Alice's command range, it can remove up to 2 additional juice tokens. So she helps him because obviously they work together. It's interesting. He's kind of the all-rounder, I think.
That feat, very interesting.
Well, to be honest, I've read too many versions of it. I've just read it.
It's very simple.
That's simpler than it has been. Yeah. So if he's got 3, he gains another 3 focus.
So yeah, gain 1 focus point for each juice token currently on Demare. The thing is, you could let those build up over a few turns.
He doesn't have maximum 3 anymore. See, this has changed. I watched this through CID, so I've got too many versions in my head now.
Yeah, so he
changed a lot during CID.
You can place up to 3 on him.
Right, so you can have like 6 or 7. Yeah,
maximum. He will take damage from them, and it says he can remove D3 juice tokens at the end of the return. So yeah, you could like that. That get very bad very quickly.
It's a weird mix of Striker 2 and Asphyxius 2, isn't it? In the sense of Asphyxius 1's feat, isn't it? When he gets to have always focus back. It's a kind of a weird mix of those 2 kind of functions, isn't it?
Yeah. And of course, if you can get like +6 focus on him, having something like Force Hammer that you can just go twice for that turn, just like, smack. Just you're going backwards and you're going backwards as well. That's bad. Iron Flesh works well with quite a few bits of his army, especially the rocket men who just go bonkers. Oh, sorry, no, it's arm now, isn't it?
It's armor now, yeah. I was going to say. So I always used to think, when I first started playing War Machine, I always looked at it, I went like, why is that not armor? Iron Flesh, surely that means armor. And they finally changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's only 5 casters altogether. We've talked about Silvestro. We talked about Lucas. Locke is a girl who has weird sort of external armor, and she's also convergence as well. So she's a strange kind of warjack caster that has sort of, she's half warjack herself, if you like, without going into details of her.
Oh yeah, split loyalties. So
yeah, she does both. Yeah,
army, she's convergence.
Yep.
And you know that.
And I don't know how you
like I said, I haven't followed any of the Crucible Guard stuff so far.
Oh, okay.
So she's interesting. She's really very warjacky in her spells and her repair ability and all kind of stuff. She's kind of a mechanic that's had big arms bolted onto her armor and stuff. It's just quite cool.
And also one of the best spells in the game, Jackhammer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jackhammer and Redline.
Yes.
So yeah, Redline and Jack, run it in and just wail away with Jackhammer.
Now, I'm not an expert at convergence, but Engine of Destruction, where you up your own map by 4 when your jacks use your map, seems rather good. But we don't play convergence.
Yeah, that seems tidy.
Yes. She's
quite to war in a convergence army. Also, hang on, no. So they're both self. Can't have them both.
So I think she's gonna be the warjack caster for a while at least, because I think she comes out now imminently.
She's the only one available currently.
Well, Silvestro comes out in the army box, and then she's out on her own. Yeah. We talked about the tank things. So the weird, wonderful thing it comes out with a battle engine, which is basically a train. It's called a railless. It's a train that just drives across the field. It's a big battle engine tank, and there's a warcaster that rides around in one. called Ira McKay. And basically the fluff, apparently, this is all hearsay, but the fluff apparently was when she became Warcaster, her daddy was so worried about her getting hurt that he built her a tank to drive around in.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Being a dad of 2 girls, I can totally get behind that. She's another Warjack caster.
That's not a bad list of spells either.
No, she's good. She's really good.
Failsafe, jumpstart, mobility, and return fire.
Let's have a Warcaster that's on a big base, Def 10, armor 19, but with how many boxes? 36 boxes. She's not getting anywhere in a hurry, is she?
No. Focus 6 on 120mm base as well. That's
it's a big area, isn't it?
So,
failsafe, mobility, jumpstart, return fire. I mean, they're simple, nothing new there, but they're all good.
Okay, and there's sort of a decent feat as well, because it's basically boosted damage against models in her control area.
Yeah,
and run and gun.
Yeah,
and magic weapons on. Oh no, magic weapons on just all their stuff. Brilliant.
We've left the silliest one to last. Believe it or not, those are the more sensible ones. The silliest one, General Baldwin Gerhardt and Mr. Clegg.
Mr. Clog.
Clog, even. It's a weird line.
Mr. Clegg.
Mr. Clegg. I was getting lost some wine somewhere there.
It's Nick Clegg. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is the guy that's in charge of all of it. He's the field
God,
marshal.
he's got the Batman.
That's exactly it. So if you look at, he's got on his card, he's only got an acid cannon. His stats are pretty mediocre. He's got a mat 7, rat 7, def 16, armor 19, armor 16. He's 15, 16. He's all right. He's all right. He's not great.
Yeah.
Except that if you look at his colleague, if you jump to his colleague's card, his colleague has an acid cannon and a catalytic detonator and a crypto evaporator and a vitriolic ingression catapult. And he can't shoot any of them because he's encumbered. He can't shoot any. He's got 4 guns and he can't shoot any because his boss can change gun. Arms Caddy. Once for activation, after making his initial attacks during his combat action while within 5 inches of Mr. Clog, Gerhardt can use Arms Caddy, replace his ranged weapon with one of the weapons on Mr. Clog's card. He can swap guns.
So you've kind of got to decide it the turn before,
or Mr. Clog has alternate actions. He can swap the gun, I think, or he can give an extra attack. But like,
yes, Johnny on the spot. So that's an interesting little. That's a nice choice.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you basically lose a ranged attack for the turn, but you do get a bit more flexibility and battle plans. So, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, target friendly faction warrior model unit. If the model unit is in range, it gains additional die on each model's first non-spray range attack roll for the turn. In an army with that many good guns?
Yep. He's tasty. I think he's going to take some doing to get the hang of. He's good out of the box, and then there's going to be some detail there with him as well.
He looks to be, like, put lots of troops with him.
Yeah.
Because... yeah, veteran leader as well.
Yeah,
veteran leader.
+1 to attack rolls.
Faction warrior.
Yep.
Nothing else, just faction warrior.
And balance charge, deceleration, hot shot, and snipe. Well, yeah. Again, hard to fall into those.
And the feat is basically choose a model. It's got prey for your entire army. Brilliant.
Yes. But when that's destroyed, choose another one.
Yeah.
So it's prey for that whole turn, for your whole army.
And again, an entire spell list that's useful. Boundless charge, deceleration, hot shot, and snipe.
There's no dud there at all. There's no unique spell, but there's no dud.
I would also say there is no damage spell there as well.
But he's got guns up the yin-yang.
Oh, true. Only one of them magical, though.
Yeah.
So... it's possible to get him into a tight spot, but no, that's certainly that's actually an interesting design model. I will hand it to PP. They've done well with that one.
I think the whole army is unusual, different. It's not in a unique design space. It's already taking a lot of what we've already seen, but things like the heavy infantry are unusual. the troops are a variation on things we've already seen in different ways. The Rocket Men are completely different.
It still feels conventional, though. I think it'd be very difficult to make a full faction out of this. I think the less units is definitely they've really tailored all the abilities.
I would kind of debate that, because this is kind of a repetition of what we've seen with Convergence, with Grimkin.
Yeah,
where we're not seeing. Well, what we're not seeing is actually more important than what we are. What we're seeing is a lot of useful units. What we're not seeing is chaff.
Yes.
Because a lot of War Machine factions, like it or not, still have units that you look at and go, well, why would I ever put that on the table? You can play them in casual games, and a lot of people do. A lot of people enjoy them. They go decently in some of the theme forces. But there's just better choices when you're playing in a tournament.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but
I don't think the 1 year factions that they're doing really have that weight of units just sitting there going, why?
But it's very fluff driven, isn't it? The whole thing's very fluff driven. Yeah. So that there is no rank and file sort of zealots kind of unit where because they don't exist, because they don't exist in the
The closest you get is the generic Crucible Guard infantry.
Yeah.
At 915, which is not hideously expensive.
I mean, but that's the thing. This one feels until I play it on the tail. If this one feels still conventional, it feels manageable still.
Well,
I still think
quite like
from the
it does feel conventional in the sense that it feels like a War Machine Prime force. It feels like it's come from the early days, and I quite like that.
Yeah,
there's lots of new stuff in it, lots of new ideas, lots of new kind of like the multi-fire weapons and stuff, and lots of complexities to it. But to look at Rocket Men aside, casually looking at the table, it's going to look like another War Machine faction that was kind of always there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do.
Grimkin can fuck off.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, should we discuss some of the other stuff that came up at
Infernals?
Lock and Load. I wasn't going to talk Infernals because I've got the stills from the video that they put out of the Flames of War.
Oh, okay. I downloaded the old Monsternomicon thing to read up on the Infernals, and there's only 3 characters. But, and they sound interesting. I have no idea how they're going to get them in the game.
I think we'll see more of the Infernals later. To be honest, they're at the same point that those very early Grimkin were, where we got like a 30-second video going, what are they?
Yeah. They're weird. They come from the woods.
Yeah, and that was about it. That was all we knew for about 6 months.
Actually, they're weird and they come from another dimension, but
which is fair enough. So, PP did announce some of the models. I've got a selection of them. So we have the Well of Orboros.
Oh yeah.
Which is a structure representing powerful leyline locations. It supports constructs. It aids in corpse collection and teleports models in from off the table.
Oh, yay.
Now, Kurt, sadly, as you'll know, this model is a couple of years out of date because waterfalls are a good, 2-3 years ago?
Oh, at least. I would go with 5.
Waterfalls with a monkey by them.
Yeah, I mean, I would go almost 5 years out of date, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a floating rock with a waterfall coming off it. So.
Wow. Well, maybe they're trying to bring it back, Yeah,
that's true. So if you're interested in New Circle, you've also got the Tharn Bloodweaver Harry Specs, which is an offensive command attachment, which grants divine inspiration. I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. Anyone?
No.
No.
I used to know what it meant. Not anymore.
We have the Tharn Blood Shaman, which I'm presuming Blood Pack, maybe? I don't know. Or just the Tharn Ravagers or something else. Spell-based it's Warcaster attachment with a Battle Wizard and Harmonious Exaltation, because really Circle needed to be throwing away spells more cheaply.
They probably said they would.
Oh, Divine Inspiration. The lowest. It's one of those low dice jiggling ones. Krios has it. Krios 3.
Oh, okay.
It's Signs Importance.
Okay. We have Iona the Unseen, a Tharn infantry support warlock, which, quote, synergizes well with all types of Tharn. So, unless it's utterly bonkers broken, probably won't get played.
When pending CID.
Yeah, true.
Tharn CID is
yeah,
imminent.
That's true. Tharn CID is coming. That is true.
Very soon.
Got some spells, Surefoot, Phantasm, and something called Abattoir, which grants battle group models additional attack.
At least you can play some Nick. At least you can play some Nick Cave. You know, good excuse for that. Well, wasn't that lame?
Moving on, we have. Oh God, was this the? This was the Scorn new colossal thing, wasn't it? The Immortal Vessel.
Yeah. Giant.
Oh God, it's enormous.
Oh, yes. No, so it says here, Sports Solo Channeler Telemetry. I don't know any more than that. Abidan the Keeper, which is a combination support and combat solo with a Weapon Master and Righteous Vengeance. Was it Turbo Douche, but Scorn?
Turbo Douche.
Ah, no, it's the Supreme Guardian.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the wrong one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is basically a construct.
Exalted Battle Engine.
Yes, the word, yeah. With
Arcane Vortex, Assault, something called Fires of Rage, which is magical. That's Blessed Fire.
It's got a big obsidian giant statue, isn't it?
And it's got Beacon. So yeah, that's pretty good. Now we're on to the good ones. Don't worry. So we've got the Steelhead Arcanist. It's a support solo. So Mercs finally get Empower. Oh, my focus issues can be taken away. And what the Americans call Reveille, even though it's nowhere near the pronunciation, but there we go.
Reveille.
Or Reveille, because it's French.
It's the bugle call. It's Reveille.
Yeah, but
it's a French. It comes from the French word.
Yeah, but it's French.
I believe the appropriate pronunciation is Reveille.
It is
American
because it's a bugle call. I think we use it as well. It's not. Just
I know, but I hate the pronunciation.
It still doesn't change the fact. Right.
I can't comment on the origins of the word though. Sorry.
So leadership steelheads as well. So weapons get. I can never remember which one's magical and which one's blessed. Hang on, no, sorry, that's because magical's the stars, so that's weapons gain blessed. Which, Steelhead Cannon Crew. Range fun. 14, POW 14 artillery for the Steelheads. Quite like that.
Is there any artillery that's really good in this game? I get confused, but yeah.
I'll take it. It's better than our range 12 POW 12 artillery that we've got now.
All right.
Which is the
there's lots of artillery, isn't there? There's lots of Steelhead artillery coming.
Don't worry. There's also the Steelhead Mortar Crew. Long range fire support, inaccurate, high explosive, which I'll take that.
They have every form of artillery all of a sudden now.
Basically, it's the old Cadre mortar, but for the faction I'm now playing. Again, I'll take it. The Steelhead Hellblaster volley gun. Oh, sorry, Steelhead volley gun. D3 plus 1 shots, gain additional die on attack rolls against models within 8 inches.
Yeah.
It's the old Empire organ gun. It really is.
Slight crossover there, but yes, it is.
Yeah.
Does it come with a monkey?
If you go for Menoth, you've got the Initiates of the Order of the Wall.
Oh, a mini unit, 3-man unit, isn't it?
Yep, looks to be a 3-man unit.
Trainees of Order of the Wall.
Yeah, with steady and set defense, which isn't bad.
Sounds appropriate.
And Unbreakable Wall, cumulative +3 arm for each other model in this unit currently base to base.
That reminds me of Great Bears when it first came out.
Yeah, they like to travel in the triangle. But speaking of Cadre, they get a new Grey Lord. Spell-based Warcaster attachment, the Grey Lord Adjunct, with Spell Barrier, Arcane Assist, and Spirit Conduit.
So they talked about him on CID briefly as an aside, and apparently he's really good.
To replace the War Dog, he'd have to be.
Good point.
Yeah. Basically, he's got to offer more than both the War Dog and Silas. Arcane Assist, he's kind of already offering part of what Silas does. Spell Barrier, I'm not sure Cadre has much of a problem with being spell assassinated, but sure. Spirit Conduit, I'm guessing that's some form of arcing.
I can't remember. It's in, I think, yeah, I've seen it before, but I can't remember.
Anyway. Any ideas?
What's that, sorry?
Spirit Conduit.
Oh, 1 second.
He's going deep.
Ben, you have to be my external brain on this one. I can't remember it anymore.
I can't remember either. I've heard of it.
Oh, fuck's sake. Something
extending range? Is it extending the range of spells?
It may be, because I think the Crix guy has it.
I thought it was a circle thing as well.
Oh!
Yeah, Silas has it as well.
Yeah, okay, so he's basically Cadre Silas.
Yeah.
Happy now?
Yeah, but doesn't have the upkeep. Loses the upkeep ability, but gains the ability to spell barrier. Interesting. Keeps it in faction. Interesting, yeah. Bane Knight Officer.
Ugh.
An ability called Serpent's Coil.
Welcome to the We Love Crix podcast. Why?
Reposition 3 for Bane Knights.
Good. They need that, yes.
Yeah.
And finally, for Grimkin, which I thought was weird when I looked at it, but then makes an odd kind of sense. The Clockatrice.
It does look good. It looks weird.
Utility heavy war beast. I mean, it's a heavy war beast chicken with a clock for a chest.
More Lewis Carroll required in Grimkin, obviously.
So it's got flight and paralysis. That's going to be downright interesting.
Yes. Oh, not the rest of the faction.
Yeah.
So that's the full selection of
no trolls. No trolls at all.
No, they were rather limited in what factions they showed.
I think we have made out like bandits of late. So,
well, it seems to be the current thing that you.
Have you seen the bears? Have you seen the bears?
Yes, I've got to say I am slightly disappointed in how the releases are done now with regards to this, because you now get one faction having a massive influx of stuff, and then the next faction having a massive influx of stuff.
Which is what they tried to avoid for a long time, yeah.
I get that it's easier to balance that way, but
I think it's easy to keep up with it as a consumer as well. But I know what you mean. I do know what you're saying, though, as well.
It's kind of dull, if I'm honest.
It does, because you go, where's my stuff? And you got to wait. Oh.
Yeah.
When's the next time we're going to get troll stuff? Mate, you've had loads of troll stuff. You've got to wait. Oh, okay. Buy another faction. Oh, okay.
So...
Oh, look what I've done. Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think what mercs have had recently. That's a lot.
No, hence why you've got tons in there.
True, but they're not coming in till next year.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. So none of the Steelhead stuff is out in 2018. It's all 2019, and that makes me a sad panda.
There wasn't that much Steelheads, though, was there? It didn't
There's
feel...
the Arcanist. There's 3 lots of artillery. And to be honest, if they're doing that much Steelhead stuff, I'm willing to bet that we'll have some Steelhead CID, which hopefully will mean they'll look at the heavy cavalry and go, what can we do to put these back in the game?
Make them cheaper.
I'm not saying I want their 2-inch melee back. I'm not saying I want backswing back. But a little bit of fine-tuning would be nice.
So the interesting thing they said when they were talking about Crucible Guard, they kept saying about the effects that Crucible Guard have on Laylee's resistance team force, and they said, we're more interested in Crucible Guard and how it balances. If it breaks something, tell us, but we're really less likely to change it unless it affects Crucible Guard as a faction. And they didn't say because we'll get to that later, but they were kind of saying because we'll get to that later.
Yeah. And actually, as a thought, I do now get to field Crucible Guard.
You do?
Yeah. So actually, Ashlyn with those the Rocket Men seems quite interesting.
It says, yeah, very. Yeah. 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 Deaf what? Oh, I don't know. More deaf. Okay, good.
Yeah, then put Quicken on them.
Yeah, but I meant, with Quicken, yes.
So it's like, so what def is it against ranged? Def 18. with dodge.
Dev higher than you can count. Don't worry.
And it's also speed 9.
And they come towards you if you miss them, and you're going to miss them. Oh, okay.
By the way, this turn you're rolling an additional 2 dice to hit, and I choose which ones go away.
Yeah. You cannot hit them at all.
Also, probably works decently with. I don't think Fiona's takeable in the in that theme force anymore.
No, I would hope not.
Damn.
Not very fluffy.
Damn.
Damn.
Damn. Damn it all to hell.
It's just not fair.
So, yeah. So, overall, yes. Overall, I suddenly seem to have a desk covered in War Machine stuff instead of 40k stuff again.
I'd say similar, but I only have to reach to here for the start of the piles of X-Wings, so, yeah.
There is some 40k stuff floating around still, but all of this is rapidly... I haven't bought... I do own some bits of Crystal Guard that are already around. I own Hutchuck, which is now half-painted. I own Gorman and some other bits of Lely's, sort of bits and pieces. And I bought some bases to put my... And I pre-ordered
I had Hutchuck in armies for ages. I ran into a problem, though, when I realised that I just forget to deploy him every single game.
Oh, no! Oh, my God, you ambush him and forget.
I ambushed with him once, and it was a really bizarre situation because I needed to clear someone off the Commodore so I could use its spray. They're like, okay, I'm ambushing, but basically in my own deployment area, so bear with me.
Well, flexibility is what it's for, isn't it? So, yeah.
True.
I had him from ages ago because he would work for Trolls, and he was still in the blister in my bottom drawer of my cupboard.
Yeah.
In bits. I put him together a few weeks ago.
I mean, this is the thing. As a solo, Hutchuck is really good.
He is.
You will just forget him.
Uber Gorman, really is.
Well, it's that whole thing of, I mean, okay, Mat 6 and Rat 6. So Gorman's actually gone up in Rat to meet him.
Yeah.
So that's a good start.
Came through CID, yeah.
Yeah, tough, 8 boxes. So again, better than Gorman. Alchemical Mask, Ambush, fine. Takedown.
Yep.
Right. And also Wild Shot. So this model makes 1 basic range attack during its activation before its normal movement. If it does, it can use its combat action only to make melee attacks.
So lob a grenade and then charge.
Yeah, basically. So lob a grenade 8 inches with the option of brain damage, quake, or rust.
Yep.
Which means if you do something like, say, I don't know, appear in the back arc of something.
A Warjack, let's say. A Warjack, perhaps?
Yeah, just lob, quake at it, or rust. Knock it down. Give it -2 armor or whatever, and then go in with a PNS 14 mace. What?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. But that's old models. But he
went through CID, came out exactly the same.
Basically, yeah. 6 points for what he is kind of worth
6 points is often free.
That is very true, actually.
Because 6 points is the first thing on your list of free things, really, to be fair.
Well, I did downgrade from him to a 5-point free model just so I'd remember to put it on the table.
I suppose, yes. 5 points that you use is more useful than 6 points that you never use, yes.
Yeah.
So he's quite cool. So, but I have pre-ordered the army box, Crystal Guard army box, which is hopefully arrive somewhere near my birthday, so it will be my birthday present to myself.
So do you know what you get in the Crucible Guard army box? Is it just
what do I know what you get? You get Silvestro. You get Gorman, which is the only waste for me.
Yeah.
You get complete Rocketeers, including 2 weapon attachments and the officer.
Nice.
You get the melee heavy troopers.
Yep.
So the shock troopers, what are they called? That's not what they're called, is it? Because there's Cadre, but you get the suppressor and the range gun jack, not the Toro. So you get 2 heavies.
Oh, they're called assault troops.
No, there's not the assault. Yes, it is the assault troops, isn't it? Yeah.
And then there's Stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers are the ones with the guns.
Yeah.
Warjack, so you get a... I can't get to there from there, can I? Let's add a thingy.
I think you get the Retaliator.
Yeah, you do. You get the Vindicator and the Suppressor.
Oh.
Well, that is a weird ability on the Vindicator's cannon.
Yes.
Living War Beasts hit by this AoE gain a Fury point.
Transfers.
Absolutely. But it's still weird, isn't it?
You get a unit of combat alchemists. You get the Dragon's Breath rocket. I think that's it. So it's. I remember looking at it when it was in dollars and calculated. You get about $60 worth of stuff free. So you get the 2 heavy jacks free, basically.
Yeah.
Or something close to that.
How much for shipping?
I ordered it from Firestorm Games, so free.
Oh, okay. So how much in pounds was it altogether?
100, just shy of 190 quid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No, that's not cheap. No.
But you get about 240 quid's worth of stuff.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I was like, it's tight. It's made this month really tight, but I'm like, but I basically get a Warjack and something else for free, or you get like, or you look at it and go, I get all the Rocketeers for free, or something like that. It's close to that. So which made me think, oh, I'm just going to do that, and then I'll build it up slowly after that.
Ooh, 10-point arc node as well.
Yep.
Sounds like you're talking yourself into this faction. Like...
No, I'm just, they are. Well, no, I am going to take some units because
10-point arc node that's unstable.
What units can we actually use in Mercs?
Any of them?
Really? Oh, okay.
Depends on.
It's only in Lely's Resistance though, so it's any 2 units.
Okay.
So yeah,
and the Warcasters.
It's not a Merc faction. Let's be clear.
The Warcasters are exclusive to that faction, apart from the Convergence last.
So the bits of it you can take in Mercs: Gorman, Hutchuk, the Toro. They are standard. They're basically usable anywhere.
They are.
Then in Lely's Resistance, you get access to Combat Alchemists, Crucible Guard Assault Troopers, Crucible Guard Infantry, Rocketmen, Stormtroopers, and the Dragon's Breath Rocket. But only 2 at a time.
No Warjacks.
No. Toro.
Apart from the Toro.
Yeah, the Toro is a Merc Jack that plays for Crucible.
Yeah.
It's very weirdly done like that. Because it's got a special kind of rule on it.
Well, it's because it's always an Audic Jack that they've specialized or repurposed.
So it's mercenary Audic heavy Warjack. This Warjack can be Maker's Mark Crucible Guard. This Warjack can be included in a battle group controlled by a Crucible Guard model. If it is, this Warjack is a Crucible Guard model instead of the mercenary.
Okay.
And it can also be included in theme forces because why not? And yeah, it's kind of standard Merc stat line. Well, standard Mangler stat line, I think, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Which does that mean we might see a Mangler plastic kit? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Oh no, it's actually better than the Mangler stat line.
I think it's quite nice.
It's Rat 5.
Aww. Wow.
I mean, the Mangler has arm 19 naturally, and it's 18 with a shield. But mercenary Warjacks made out of spit and string.
So yeah, I've got engaged, and I'm not in the marital sense with the army. And
I mean, in America, you can get engaged to inanimate objects. So.
Yeah, I wish you to marry this rose bush. Yeah, I like it. It'll be fun.
I will say, hopefully, my engagement with the game will be a bit more in a few weeks because I'm going to the Midlands Open.
Oh Lord!
I'm not quite ready for that, but my intention is to buy it, paint it, buy a few bits, and start getting myself to events again in the autumn.
Who's running that then? The Midlands.
Midlands Open is the Warlords of Warsaw. So Jack Graham, Chris Tapper, that lot. Yeah, it's I looked at it and went, "Hang on, that's 10 minutes from my parents' house, so I could just go from there in the morning." Yeah, that's worth half a tank of fuel. That's fine.
Is your parents' house central to most major geek events? Then it seems that way.
It's
central enough not to worry we're staying anywhere.
It's not far off Junction 10 of the M6, which, if you know where Junction 10 of the M6 is, that's pretty easy to get to pretty much anything. You are 45 minutes from Games Expo. You are technically an hour from the Northwest Games Centre, but it does involve going on the M6 past Stafford.
Yeah, we've all done that.
And there is the laugh of a man who's tried.
7 hours to Chorley. 7.
Bloody hell.
7 hours.
Yes, I still have those golden troll dice.
Oh, God. I got so drunk. I played, Matt Oakley drunk. He was already drunk, and I caught him up.
There are still people who ask me, where did I get my golden troll dice? I'm like,
I think I still
an event some years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Because that was back when we were in the single digits of episodes.
2012, I want to guess that was.
Something like that.
I don't think Rem was one. Yeah.
Let me go back into the archives.
I think it's when it was. It was end of October. It was Halloween, wasn't it? The Friday.
Oh, episode 5.
Oh, my word.
Oh, we're getting all nostalgic now.
Yes, we'll have to play the Hovis theme tune in a second.
No,
I like most about that high street, that long cobbled road that's supposed to be in Yorkshire. That's in that advert. Do you know where that is?
Lancashire.
No, that the original Hovis advert with the kid pushing the bike up the hill is supposed to be some Yorkshire village, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's in Dorset.
It would be more ironic if it had been in Lancashire.
Debatable. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the Golden Troll episode was published on the 6th of November, 2011.
Should we just have an episode listening to the last of that?
Oh yeah, 2011. You're right. It must have been. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that when you were still heavily scripted?
No, that was in the first episode.
I was say heavily scripted.
Well, from what I hear, I mean, I haven't bothered to listen to
heavily scripted
the dusty stuff.
Those are jokes that come from appearing on Lost Hemisphere. That's what those are.
First episode, was the 8th of September 2011.
Wow.
So this podcast has been going on and off for nearly 7 years.
We apologise for the inconvenience.
We're not at 100 yet, are we?
No, this is episode 91.
Oh God, 9 more.
Nine.
That will take like a few years to get
until 2020 at least.
No, to get to 9.
Episode 100, the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
And that will scare me more than it scares anyone else.
Let's listen to episode number 5. Where is it?
Let's not do that. Let's listen to number 9 of something else. Anyway.
There was somebody...
No.
Oh, wait.
What, episode 17? Episode 17 of something else. Sorry, John.
No, you're not. And you know you're not.
I still talk to him.
Fair enough.
Moving on.
Apparently, Nicaea was new at that point. According to this.
I was going to say, episode 5, we were still discussing like Domination was an upcoming book.
Yep.
We reviewed the first SmogCon not much later.
Wow.
We did multiple episodes with what was the with the early days of Steamforged as well.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, he's part of that. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You actually used the word gargantuan without realizing its ramifications later on in the description. Through the gargantuan black hole of an episode. See what you did there? Yeah. Oh my God!
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry.
So we've covered an awful lot of stuff in the last 7 years that I wish we hadn't.
Who was the 5th person? There's 4th. Who's there's
you?
Oh no, that's not.
So what are you asking, Ben? You seem to be rambling.
No, I looked at the Twitter handle. Is actually just the Twitter handle that you operate.
What?
No, there's 4 people. There's you, Kurt, Alex, and that I assume that is what's his face.
Nick.
The hair.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Nick.
The hair.
Yes, and God bless Nick. He's long departed the show, but still around in a manner of speaking.
That makes him sound like he's dead.
Well, he's dead to me.
Wow.
I was trying to say that.
Gee.
Harsh.
Wow.
Harsh.
Alex,
come on,
get in touch.
You knew I was going there.
Alex, you better get in touch soon. He might kill you as well.
So this has been a podcast actually about War Machine.
Yeah,
you did really well. You did really well. I'm gonna.
I'm sorry. Well, hang on. I've already bought an X-wing model in. I was going to bring my templates in, but then I realised that would collapse the rather delicate pile that is to the right of this PC.
Are you going to talk about X-wing now? Can I just switch off for a bit?
Okay. I've just realised in my paint pot there's actually a Vanguard shield as well.
Are you painting?
Actually, can you see my Booker, Mike?
Yeah.
Can you see who is actually a Legion model? Can you see his shield?
The Vanguard shield
with the Leo logo on it.
Oh, very nice. I ended up buying quite a few single Vanguard shields because I used them for my rovers.
How did you get those?
I asked Bob nicely. And paid for them with points.
Nice.
Oh my God! There's a guy that's replaced all the Desters with My Little Ponies. I thought that was just a myth.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it's real.
Desters are apparently going into CID fairly soon as well.
Briefly.
Yes, to be made useful. So rejoice, Benj.
Are they really going to be useful?
Don't know about that.
Allegedly, there's a lot of stuff that's being redesigned through CID in the not too distant future. Although I believe one of the suggested CIDs has now gone off the table.
Which was that?
I think the privateer one has been.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
The next one is a very brief one, which I don't know if it involves Destins, but it's a very brief Elvish one, and then Tharn. I can't remember what's coming after that though.
It's like
I have started watching the podcast, watching the Wednesday broadcast quite a lot. I quite like them.
Yeah, it's like the 12 models of Christmas?
Oh yeah,
in camp for this year as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're doing just single faction releases.
Yeah, that annoyed some people.
So
I didn't mind it. It was a pretty good idea.
I mean, I'd like them to go back to doing smaller per faction releases that were at the same time as releases for other factions. But I recognise that with the CID model I've adapted, that's not as feasible. So we'll see. I mean, the game is actually, when you're playing it, in a decent place.
I think looking at the stats and how armies are doing, it seems the most balanced it's been in a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, the only big concern at the moment that I'm seeing on the forums a lot is the whole EGAS-B with Slayer spam. Which, did you ever think we'd hear that combination of words?
I've watched it, I've seen it. I haven't played against it, but I've seen it, and it's quite frightening. But yes, no, I did not think that would be the case.
When we're talking about spam, how many jacks are we talking?
Nine Slayers.
So basically...
Nine Slayers or 7 with Death Jack or something like that.
What was the most you could have with Butcher? Berserkers?
7?
Oh no, the Butcher army went crazy.
Or did it go more than
that? Was it Butcher 3?
It was Butcher 3.
Because I know that one just went like ridiculously off the charts.
Are we talking about Mark II themes now?
I don't even think it was.
No, that was Mark III.
Oh wow!
Remember, they had to recost Berserkers, and because they Mad Dog, they had to redesign the Mad Dog and all sorts of shit.
Even then, you can still get like quite a lot of stuff with him.
I think they got rid of Jerry Rig or whatever it is from.
It was more that it was altered, but yeah.
So I mean, there's always a potential to find that sweet spot for spam if you've got enough money and
whatever you do, someone will find the quote unquote broken list.
I do still enjoy my 5 Storm Trolls.
thought you were going to say storm walls.
Can't put them on the table, but I still like the fact that I've still got them, and they were painted and all just all remodeled and moved and customized.
Have we seen any more pictures of the junior prime casters that were coming out for the 15th anniversary? I've only seen Kane. I've only seen Kane. Is that it?
Kane was available at Lockman, I think. The others, we've seen lots of artwork, but we haven't seen final models, I don't think, for them yet. They're due soon.
I just put the link in the chat for the cover of the next No Quarter. I do love the artwork for the Crucible card characters. They look amazing.
It just does it for me. It just kind of gets into that bit that it's almost like it gets into something that got disillusioned with what happened to Lael. Because I kind of wanted Lael to fight back. I wanted Signar to help Lael fight back and almost form an army. And that's kind of what they've kind of done in a weird way. Especially as you can include things like the Lael gun majors and stuff. You can make it more of a Lael army, which I think is probably what I'll do. I'll probably end up with it serving both purposes and maybe even playing a bit of Lely's Resistance Mercs too. Because I've got a lot of that stuff already.
Just for reference, Benj, in an army, you can still fit, this is Butcher 3.
Oh, God.
7 Berserkers, 2 Mad Dogs, 2 Ragers, Yuri the Axe, Manhunter, Kayazi Eliminators, and a War Dog.
And a Partridge.
I was going to go there.
Yay.
So that's 11 Warjacks, if you really want them.
That's disgusting.
I mean, they're not as good as they were. Because obviously you've had things that were just tweaked down a little. So Jury Rigged has turned to Fleet.
Yeah. Is that +2 in Pathfinder though, isn't it? But you have to pay for it.
No, it's 1 focus for +2 inches of movement. So if you run, you don't get the additional bonus. It doesn't double.
Oh.
So it just slows them down a little.
But they have, obviously, he's got that mobility spell for battle group, hasn't he? What is it?
It's the 2-inch move, isn't it?
I think it's more than that. 3. So you can go up to 3, can it?
No,
you spend 3.
Changed. So Energizer in Mark 2 was spend between 1 and 3 focus. You can immediately move all models in your battle group up to that number of inches.
Yeah.
In Mark 3, it's changed to spend 2, move 2.
Okay.
You don't have the option of spending 3 anymore, which is kind of sad for McBain, because there's so many times I've gone, I really wish I could move just that extra inch.
Yeah. So, I guess he's also got his drag, unless that's changed. Jesus Christ, I don't know. He's got his drag of
Doom. Yeah, the impending doom's still there.
So
no, Butcher Unleashed is still an animal. It's still horrific on every level.
Good. It's where it should be. Maybe it's viable still. Maybe that will.
It's Cador. There'll always be something viable. Mark 3 Cador has been strong.
I've heard that the Mana War thing is quite horrible. Just lots of boxes.
Mana Wars en masse have always been nasty to get rid of. They're tough. There's a lot of boxes. The only thing is they couldn't move towards objectives. And now there's ways of just kind of moving them there. They're in a better place than they were.
Yeah.
So. Should we do any other business?
Yeah, it's late and it's Friday.
It's not late, but yeah, it's Friday.
I'm pretty tired. It's been a long, weird week.
So, first up on my list of things, Benj, any other business?
I played Rising Sun, which apparently if you've played... What was it? Blood Rage?
Did you play Sean Connery?
Yeah, I did. Sean Connery. It's doing
doing his Scottish-Japanese accent.
It's no, that'll be
almost as good as his Scottish-Lithuanian.
Or Scottish-Russian. Oh, nice.
Sub-Russian action with
I see what you did there.
Russian accent.
Or Scottish-Spanish.
Scottish-Egyptian.
See,
See, it's the same because you think he's Scottish, you think he's Russian, but he's actually Lithuanian, and you think he's Spanish, but that's what he gets called. He's actually Egyptian. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, set in
derail entirely.
A lovely feudal
If you'd
Japan.
like to derail conversations, right to Elite Cadre.
It feels like we're in the intro. Right. Yes, beautiful board game set in feudal Japan, was heavily delayed shipping for European people apparently. But my friend finally got his Uber copy of the game. We sat down to play it. It's actually fairly simple. The only bits that are a bit complex, and that's because you can do lots of crafty things, are the combat, because you can opt to basically kill yourself and still win the battle somehow. That's a weird fucking thing.
I just feel like playing Men Off, though.
Yeah, kind of. And playing Man Off badly, or well in that case. So the factions are all really balanced. They all have like a game-breaking like special ability. Mine was very overly complex because you had to juggle how much resources you spent in the battle as the daimyo, basically like making sure that you had enough. I played the Koi clan, and it got a bit confusing because the rule was explained to me in many different fucking ways, but I finally got it by the end, but still managed to fuck it up somehow. Still coming in seconds though, because it's really good. The mechanics are really nice, especially when you start getting the kami, which are the gods basically, and you start like making alliances. It definitely is very beneficial to have alliances, and then working out when to actually betray your partner, and sometimes working together to work that out is actually quite rewarding, because there's a mechanic where you bid on cards and you get special abilities, and depending if you're on an alliance, you get a special ability, you and your partner. It's a really well thought out game, really enjoyable. I haven't read much about it reviews wise, but I know that it was quite popular. I would definitely, if you were interested in like a feudal Japan type war game.
So this would have been an ideal conversation to have with Alex here, wouldn't it?
Would it?
He loves that kind of thing.
Does he?
Well, he played Bushido.
A lot. Twice, I think.
Twice?
Harsh.
Wow. He's playing Infinity now, if he's still playing anything at all.
He can't understand the rules, I thought.
Well, I don't think anybody can. No, nobody can. It's all in Spanglish. But it's a beautiful.
Infinity has tidied up a lot since those early days of some very questionable rules.
If only I played in a gaming group where they played Infinity, then I could learn how to play that game.
Yeah. You know Ian.
Is that convincing? Ian who?
Ian who? There we go.
Is that his name?
Yeah, his name's in the front of the Mark III, the latest book, for crying out loud, and he does play in my gaming group.
Well, why don't you play with him then?
Because I don't know how to play. Moving on.
All right, fine. There we go. Moving on. So that's a really good game. I'm going to go play some more board games with my group on Monday. I wonder
if I've already had abuse on Twitter.
Who else?
I wonder if I've already had abuse on Twitter for that. Moving on.
Okay.
Possibly.
I haven't been checking, so...
No, I haven't either. I'm looking now.
You're definitely not angling your way for a free box of minis, are you?
No.
And that's about it with regards to any other business. Haven't played many. I started playing Assassin's Creed Unity. It's because I really like the look of Odyssey. So
how are you finding?
It's a bit hard getting back into an Assassin's Creed game from the beginning once you've already been a super assassin in like 3, which is the last game that I played and really enjoyed.
And then you realise that Unity has a leveling system as well, and there are certain areas of the city where the guards are just too tough.
Oh, I haven't got there yet. I'm still fannying around after I learned that my adopted daddy was a Templar, and I'm an assassin supposedly. And I'm
yes.
Yeah.
If and when you finish, Benj, we will have a lovely conversation, whereupon I will discuss with you Assassin's Creed Unity and my thoughts.
The combat's a bit buggy already.
Definitely. A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say, coincidentally, I am actually working through Assassin's Creed 2 at the moment. So
okay. I'm looking forward to Odyssey. Really want to get that.
My big problem is they seem to want to turn it into an RPG.
Yes.
And I like 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and mostly 4.
It will be.
And Syndicate actually.
Okay.
Really good.
It won't be full-on RPG. None of Ubisoft's games are ever.
Dialogue and leveling and games as a service.
Everything's a service now.
Yeah, true, but it doesn't mean I have to like it.
It's all right. Go buy some loot boxes in Overwatch. That'll make you feel
No, I've bought one lot of loot boxes. That was right near the start, and then I went, you know what? I can't be bothered with this.
It's one of your best trolls, that.
And ever since I am at about 50% on one character in the entire Overwatch at level 200 and something.
Reinhardt.
Level 200 and Reinhardt. Yes.
Yeah. Is that true?
No. Well, I'm over level 200, but the character that's over half is, I think, Zarya.
Okay.
But it's entirely random. So
how do you feel about a hamster in a ball?
I feel that Wrecking Ball is absolutely fantastic, and I love him to death.
I think it's fucking jumped a shark, but there we go.
Just having this... I'm sorry, if you've got a giant talking gorilla with a Tesla cannon whomping around the game...
No one ever plays Winston. Unless the meta's completely changed now.
You realise Winston is one of the, two most viable tanks?
What, in competitive?
Yes!
Okay, well, yeah, it's definitely changed then.
So you've got this thing called Dive Comp.
Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah.
I know about that, but it was never fucking viable in...
Winston, D.Va, Genji, Lucio, Mercy.
Mercy's changed a hell of a lot since the last time I played it.
Dear listener, you're not the only one who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
It's a good thing you don't. Ow.
Overwatch is fantastic. It's a brilliant game. However,
it's fucking cancer. Sorry. Carry on. Carry on.
I've actually enjoyed some competitive games recently.
That's good. That's great. Good for you.
Didn't get insulted or anything.
That's good. Yeah. Not to your face, behind your back.
Maybe. Yeah. but now, see, people are nice to each other because they want endorsement levels.
Oh yeah, so forced niceness.
So it's like Black Mirror's invaded computer games.
Any difference from real niceness if it has to happen all the time, Benj? Come on.
I don't know about that. That's office civility, isn't it?
If you're forcing people to be nice to each other,
I don't know. You just ignore them usually.
So, also, to be fair, it helps for me because I have a regular Overwatch group every Wednesday and Friday.
Oh, today?
Yes.
Oh.
Are you playing Overwatch now then?
No, because I don't game at the same time as I'm podcasting. Because, Benj, I feel that when I'm doing something like this, that it deserves the full care and attention of everyone involved.
Wait, isn't Kurt modelling constant?
Yeah, but that's part of what we're talking about.
Yeah, concentrating on hobby. He's giving War Machine 110% of his attention, Benj.
It doesn't distract me from the conversation and then go, oh, sorry, what was that?
I have no
quarter. Hey, I'm not saying I have never done that during podcasting. That would be foolish of me to say that. What's going on? I don't know. Were you looking at your phone? Maybe. Okay, moving on.
Kurt, were you asleep?
Yeah, that has happened too.
I think we've had Alex do that as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll move on from your any other business, Benj, but we will discuss Assassin's Creed Unity later.
Yeah, fuck Overwatch. Carry on.
Dick.
I'm sorry, I can't stand that game.
Yeah, well, no one can stand you either.
I know. I know that full well.
Kurt.
I've got a disjointed segue to what you two were just talking about.
Oh,
I meant to mention right at the beginning. You both sat down, aren't you?
Yeah.
I watched earlier on this evening.
Okay.
I watched Rampage.
Oh, okay.
And it's not as totally shit as I expected it to be.
Really?
Hang on. Rampage, as in Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Giant gorillas in Chicago, yeah.
See, that looks quite fun.
It is.
High class cinema.
It's silly fun, kind of stupid, but it is, I would say, at least a level or two above what I expected. I expected complete turn off. I put my phone down. I was expecting to mess about on my phone the whole way through, possibly play silly games as I was watching it. No, I put my phone down. It's fun. I'm not gonna say it's good, engaging, because it's barely those things. But I quite enjoyed it. It was a laugh. It kept my attention for 2 hours. I was quite impressed.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. That's my segue. The other things we've already talked about are I bought Chris Bogard and I'm painting I'm painting bases right now. I'm painting bases. And I've not done this before. I've never done the what I want to call the Chris Miller way of modelling, where you buy a set of bases and you sit and paint all the bases first. But the models aren't here yet, so I'm doing the bases first.
I suppose that that gives you some more incentive to finish the models because
well, I've got enough corks to mount stuff on, and I can do things. I mean, some of the infantry, I'll work out how I do it, but I can paint them off the base and then attach them afterwards, or mostly paint them and then attach them. That kind of thing. I think that's my plan.
Cool.
Have I done anything else? I played Lego games on the Wii with my children. That's about it, really. I don't play these kind of games anymore that you used to play. In-depth, complicated, time-consuming things.
No, he only plays Overwatch. That's not time-consuming or people complex.
I was going to move on to a board game that actually is really not complex.
What's that?
Spyfall.
Oh, yes, I played that. I like that.
Had a game of it last night. It's really fun. So, you have essentially a box of 27 locations. Okay? And each location is a pack of cards where there's one card that says spy.
Okay.
And then all the other cards have the name of the location on.
So it's a variation of werewolf then, by the sound of it.
Basically, yes. So what happens is someone reaches into the box, picks a set at random. You then deal them out, and one of you is the spy.
The Cylon.
You then have 8 minutes on the clock.
Oh, okay.
The person who dealt gets to ask one other person a question.
This is not a game for children.
No, they could do, but it's probably a bit complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get to ask one other person a question. And after that person's answered, they then get to ask a question to anyone except
the person who asked them
a question.
Gotcha.
And you bounce this around the table for anything up to 8 minutes. At any point...
Why did you buy those shoes?
At any point, one person can stop the clock and ask for a vote on if a person they accuse is the spy. Or
do you have to shout "j'accuse"?
You can do. we did quite often.
Oh, they did.
Or the spy can reveal themselves and try and guess where they are.
Oh.
So the spy has no idea what the location is other than the questions that are being asked.
Okay.
Which means you can intentionally mislead people. So, for instance, there's a beach and a health spa. So you might say, "Oh, have you forgotten your towel?" And it could be either of those, or the health spa as well. I asked someone, "It's quite muddy here, isn't it?" What else did we have? We just had this whole selection of questions where people are deliberately. Oh, that was it. One was the supermarket, and I asked someone, "Oh, do you know where the peanut? Well, sorry, are there any bags of peanuts?" Because there's also
an
airplane, and a cinema.
Nice.
So it's
where's the popcorn?
Yeah. That was actually the next question that was asked.
Nice.
So you're deliberately trying to mislead the spy. But if you're the spy, you're trying to be generic enough that you can get by.
So how does the rest of you know which location you're all in different locations, or you're in the same one?
Everyone has the same location.
Right.
So you'll have, if you're at the supermarket, you'll have a pack of cards where every card except one says supermarket, and then one says spy.
Right. So you ask questions to try and get the spy to give themselves away. Meanwhile, the spy's trying to ask questions to work out where they are.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I like that.
But it's a really nice little social deduction game. I mean, I will admit it's more suited to some people than others, because there are people who, with their first question, it's like, no, instantly gone. We know you're the spy. Get out. And we did have a couple of rounds of that. But once people get their feet and get the feel for, okay, I've got to ask questions, but not direct enough. I've got to be ambiguous. And it's answering the questions as well. You've got to ask questions that sort of demand a slightly specific answer and can't just be sort of fobbed off. It requires thought, which means one person, after having had 4 vodkas, might have been not.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that was the board game play this week. I've also been prepping for a campaign of Shadowrun.
Let's go back a bit.
Yeah. So Shadowrun 5th edition. We've got that all set up for I think it's week after next to start playing. And that's going well so far. Although character creation caused at least one person to have basically a small mental breakdown when they didn't want to play a standard hacker and wanted to play the magical hacker. So they had to go through the magic rules of Shadowrun, and it hurt their brain.
Okay.
Because they are far more complex than any rules deserve to be. Trying to think if there's anything else. Playing lots of X-Wing. I finally got my version 2 templates all painted up and nice. Actually got the first of the version 2 cards, the new
cool
stuff has started to come out. So both the TIE Reaper and Swords Renegades have version 2 cards in them.
It'd be interesting to see how you what you think about the new version. I think I'm kind of going to reserve judgment and not jump into it until more people have got it and what the general feedback is.
Well, the release is September, so it's not that far away now.
No.
And it's all pre-ordered for me and at hideous expense, but that's fine. We're used to that at this point. And I mean, we've had the last of the ships for it spoiled this week. If anyone's interested and wants to play X-Wing, there is a YouTube channel called Hairy Nick. Rather appropriate for one of the former hosts of this podcast, but no, it's not him. It's an Australian guy called Hairy Nick, and what he's done, he's gone through every single ship that's coming out in version 2. They've actually cut back quite a lot on the pilots in some places. Stuff like the TIE Interceptor is now down to 4 pilots from about 7.
Oh, cool.
Because they're basically culling off the ones that they don't need because they were introduced as fixes for things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's inbuilt now. It's looking to shape up interestingly. We can't say definitively whether it's going to be good or bad because a lot of this stuff depends on what points stuff launches at. And even with the cards, we have no points values yet because we're waiting for the app.
Yeah.
Which is going to have all the points values and all the
so they can tweak it ongoing and it could be a living game like everything else is now. Which
I think is a great decision because honestly, having had the situation where the Jump Master, after 2 nerfs, was still absolutely ruining that game in some places, where they just basically had to nerf it so hard it just was unplayable. Now having the option of going, oh, that's doing well at tournaments. Let's add a couple of points onto the ship itself and 1 point onto the upgrade and see how we're going. Is a great approach. I mean, it's something PP do as well now. And to be honest, in the age of the internet where information is readily available, can you blame companies for doing it?
It's where 40k is going, I think, as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about an app coming for 40k to replace it and to be the live point source. So I don't know when that's coming. Probably the new year now. But
Games Workshop does a lot more kind of multi-part releases for its systems now. So you kind of get the basic game with its kind of here's your starter rules, and then later on you get like what is it the General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar and
Codex. Well, the Codex is Age of Sigmar original. The first Age of Sigmar had no points as such. And then the General's Handbook brought points in. So you had those different ways of playing. 40k has 3 ways of playing. It has narrative, it has casual, and it has competitive play it's built into it.
Much the way that X-Wing has 2 ways to play now. You can either play the competitive points-based version, or in every single pack that comes out, you also receive quick build cards, which say, okay, this ship with these options that are all in this blister is threat level 3.
Oh, nice.
And you can say, okay, let's have a 10 threat game.
So that's like power level in 40k then, isn't it? Because you can play... Yeah, so you have power level, which is you play 50 power, or you play 1,000 points. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Effect, but not quite, but nearly.
But it's all designed so you can buy a blister and know that, well, straight away, you can play that format of the game and just put it on the table. It's... really, really simple.
That's interesting. I like that idea.
Yeah. And I think for those people who aren't doing any of the tournament stuff and don't really care, that's going to be their main way to play the game. Because they're not going to have the app. They're not going to sit there and go, if I take this out, I get 4 points back and add that on for 3. They'll just go, yeah, let's have 10 threat.
Cool. I like that idea. That might actually get you back playing it again.
Yeah. Well, allegedly, Nick wants to start playing again, so we'll see how far that goes.
I think.
Don't laugh, Benj. It's unkind.
It'll be a while before it happens to me because I'm getting back into War Machine. Gonna play some War Machine. Probably play some Company of Iron. I was supposed to play Company of Iron on Tuesday, but I wasn't feeling very well.
I did actually the other day kind of look into how long I'd been playing X-Wing and War Machine as my main 2 games. I keep thinking of X-Wing as like a relatively recent thing. It's 6 years old.
At least.
Yeah. And then there's War Machine, which I remember picking up at picking up as a main game.
2006.
At my second Games Expo, which is now more than a decade ago.
Yeah. I picked it up at the start of Hordes. The April that Hordes, or the March to April, it launched in 2006. So it was just before I got married. Yeah, I know exactly when I got into War Machine.
So it's another point where it's like, oh, I've been playing War Machine for just under a third of my life. Oh, sad times. Anyway, I feel like I've diverged somewhat off.
Don't even, especially when you start looking at when I first played Blood Bowl and when was I playing Space Hulk, and then how long was I playing 40k?
Oh, it's hobby in total. It's 23 years for me now, which is frankly terrifying. Right. Anyway, before the Hovis theme tune kicks in again, I think we should hand over to Kurt to sign us off.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre, the wargaming, and this week actually Hordes and War Machine type podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Kurt.
I've been Mike.
I've been Benj.
Where's Alex? Where's Alex?
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
No one knows where Alex is. That's part of the joy of it. Wait, no. So yeah, that's the podcast.
It's done.
Yes, we're done. It's 11:05 and we're done.
Nobody was watching.
It's a Friday night.
Did we advertise anything?
Yeah, it was on my Twitter feed.
Oh, okay.
People for it.
Well, you're more Twitter famous than most of us.
I think Kurt probably best known followers.
I got nearly 900.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell! Were they all bots or Russians?
They're Russians. They're fairly reasonable to employ.
No, Kurt has like wider, more historical interests than I do.
I also went through a phase of deliberately trying to build my Twitter, and then that was quite a while ago now. But from that, it's gradually eked up. It hasn't quite got to 900, but yeah, it's interest. Twitter is about spheres of interest. So wargaming is one, and within that you have other facets, and expanding it into 40k is expanding my following. But literature and weird occult stuff is also.
This is interesting. The person that Star Wars and EA hired to write a single-player campaign game basically for EA has left, saying that the single-player Star Wars game was shelved.
I'm not surprised, because EA is all about games as a service and multiplayer only.
Yeah, scumbags.
So it's the way that a lot of gaming is going, and quite frankly, I have no time for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get there are games that I have played for long periods of time, like consistently. I've played WoW for long periods of time. I've played Overwatch for long periods of time, and they are stuff that is constantly updated. I get that's a thing, but there are companies out there now, like EA, like Ubisoft, who want you to not only have that economy where you play a game for a long period of time, but they still want to have the annual, like 50, 60 quid limited edition release.
Yeah. And
it's like, you get one or the other. I bought Overwatch once 2 years ago, and other than, what was it, 20 quid that I spent on loot boxes once? That's it. I haven't paid a subscription fee. I don't pay for new characters. I don't pay for new levels.
You haven't, but the drip feed of those was at one point quite
it's
slow for.
I realised that the game is paid for by the whales.
Yeah,
that's quite clearly it, and also part funded by the esports as well.
I think so. What was briefly the most well funded was Marvel Contest of Champions. Was, I don't know if it still is, but it was for about a year or better part of a year, one of the most profitable mobile games. But I don't think it's the whales that give them the majority of the funding. I think it's everybody. It's the majority. So it's not the people who spend nothing, and it's not the whales, because the whales are a small number of people.
No, I disagree there.
The studies into it say that the whales pay for about 90%.
Oh, yeah. Really? That's
bizarre, I'm a whale.
You would think it was the thousands of people who spend a tenner here and there, wouldn't you?
No, I'm a whale in Hearthstone. I've put so much money into that, and that's what's that expression, like buyer's remorse or whatever? You know, that false equivalency where you've put so much money in that you have to keep playing the game even though you're not enchanted with it.
So that's interesting, because that ties it the other way around. So there's the blind box reward crates are now being linked to gambling, especially in teenagers. Yeah. So and what you've described is the other side of the gambling spectrum issue, where you can't stop playing because you've invested so much. You want to try and win it back, so to speak, but get your value back in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of legally they're looking at. It came around again recently. They're talking about it again recently. These reward crates, and it's not you and I that's the problem, because to be honest, I get sick of stuff and I turn it off. But if you're imagine being 14 and playing this now, you know, or younger, it's like my kids watching YouTube videos of them opening blind bags. That's at a lower, safer level, but they're still watching them open hundreds of them. It's a weird thing.
I will invest in a game that I want to see continue, and I know that Rainbow Six is one of these ones which I've now started to put money into. I've stopped putting money into Hearthstone, stopped putting money into WoW. I stopped WoW at the end of Legion, actually.
Here we go, actually. This is from the Wall Street Journal. This is forcing game makers to get smarter and shrewder about turning freeloaders into spenders. The ultimate prize, catching whales who plunk down $50 or even $100 a month on extra turns, special payouts, and other virtual goodies in mobile games. Mobile game whales who spend at least $100 a month generate 2/3 of all revenue made while playing such games, up from about one half a year ago, according to Swerve Inc., a mobile marketing firm.
Wow!
So that's 2/3 of all people that make money for these games are putting down $50 to $100 a month on mobile titles.
Now, it depends what else you have in your life, but that still isn't. Oh, yeah. That's still a reasonable amount of money, isn't it? I mean, I haven't spent £100 a month on a game, but I'd spend 10, 20 quid here and there on Contest of Champions when I was playing it a lot. But that wouldn't be every month, though. That would be, I don't know, maybe 40 a quarter, you know, kind of.
I mean, if I think about it, I spend anywhere between £20 and £60 a month on films.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for that, I get a certain amount of hours of viewing time, and I can watch them anytime I like again as well. I mean, if they're getting that many hours of enjoyment out of the game, it's not the end of the world. But at the same point, I can see how that's very addictive, and that's why I try and avoid it. I know
I've got friends who like casinos who will take £100 to a casino expecting to lose it, but they're not gambling addicts. They just enjoy going, and they know that's what it costs.
Yeah.
And that's sensible gambling.
Yeah. Well, and there are, if you do go to a casino, which, by the way, we're not advocating, we're just stating. I just have to throw that one out there. Okay. If you go into a casino, you know, if you are spending a certain level, that you do get the free drinks, the free food, depending on where you go. So it is the whole £100 for an evening out, and what's the difference between that and just going to like another bar, because the cost really doesn't turn out to be that much different.
True.
So that's why playing Magic in a pub is quite funny, because I don't go to the pub normally. And then we go to the pub, but we're only buying a couple of drinks, but the money that we would spend normally on supposedly buying lots of drinks is spent on buying magic cards beforehand, kind of thing, as a weird sort of justification to go into the pub. It's really, well, yeah.
I dread to think how much I spend on board games for board game evenings.
I
really don't want to look into that
recently spent quite a lot on Kickstarter again for board games.
Oh no, what have you done?
Well, nothing I haven't told you about already. Like Judge Dredd and that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing new.
Actually, there's a Kickstarter that finished quite recently that I backed called Villagers, I think.
Oh, I did back it, but I didn't pay for it, so I'm tempted to jump on it afterwards.
I mean,
that looked quite cheap and simple. I saw that one.
Yeah, it looked quite neat. Yeah, what was it? It's, Villagers. It's a very clean looking, like civilization building card game, and I like that sort of design. Plus, it's a single small box for the entire thing. I'm well behind that. I've referenced Benj as well. I think you've shown interest in these. I did back the premium edition of Gunsmith Cats.
Yeah.
And Kenichi Tsunada's new Bean Bandit sequel.
Yeah, I would have backed them, but I had a bit of a weird experience when I backed that Under the Dog. Was it called? Yeah, that was a weird experience. They delivered. It's just it was nowhere near what it originally was supposed to be like.
That does happen occasionally.
They didn't make enough money to go past like 20 minutes, did they?
I'm not sure how long the final cut was that I got, but it felt longer than that, but it felt very incomplete.
Yeah. I mean, Bean Bandit, they asked for 15 million yen and got 23 million, which is, it's not like huge amounts of money.
Did you hear about the live action Gundam that's just been announced? I cried a bit.
Oh, the second live action Gundam.
Yeah, everybody forgets Savior. For fuck's sake.
G Savior, again, we're going off into nerd territory here. G Savior is one of the worst things I have ever seen.
You're out nerding me.
Okay, reuse Starship Trooper armor.
Do you know of Gundam, Kurt?
Yes.
Okay, so imagine if some Canadians got their hands on the license for Gundam and made a low-budget, made-for-TV, sci-fi spectacular out of Gundam.
Right, wait, let me put it. Imagine Firefly was fucked by a really bad Gundam ripoff. Okay.
No, Bench.
No, seriously, look at they reuse the armor of the Starship Troopers, which the Federation did in Firefly. The factions were very similar to the factions in Firefly.
It was nowhere near the budget of Firefly.
Oh no, I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing the premise.
We're talking. This is like all the worst bits of Babylon 5, where it looks like the sets are going to fall over.
There's no bad bits of Babylon 5.
That's kind of true. There is no bad bits of Babylon 5.
Get out.
Really? We're talking about the final season now, are we?
Yeah. You're all right. Babylon 5 is a work of art.
I mean, I love... Is it season 4 that's the one before that?
Season 4 is the disappointing one when they jam too much in together. But yes.
Oh, see, now... there's the campaign to take back Earth, isn't it?
Yes. And some good bits. The space battles are amazing. Yeah, but it just
plus
a bit jammed together.
Sheridan is being tortured.
Yeah.
Fantastic episode.
That's some good ones. Yeah.
I
came back to 5, and I found that I didn't hate 5 anywhere near as much.
Yeah.
I've still never had the heart to watch it all the way through.
Hey, at least it wasn't as bad as Crusades.
I've watched the first episode of that.
I watched all of it.
I watched most of it. It's a bit garbage.
Anyway,
you're fools.
Season 2 and 3 are just the high points. We know that.
The one thing that hurts is they can never do an HD version of Babylon 5.
No.
Yeah, we know. We've talked about this.
Yeah, the place where the special effects were done burnt down.
Maybe that was a good thing. Maybe just let it go.
Let it go.
Oh, I knew you would let that go.
Because it looks.
I've had my musicals playlist on in the car. Leave me alone.
Frozen.
Yeah, okay.
I have had the soundtrack to La La Land.
Actually, do you want
wait.
any of the business?
No, I need to say this. I need to say this before you cut. Coco, the Disney movie, fucking amazing.
Great. Yes,
absolutely amazing.
I laughed, I cried some more, I laughed again, and then I cried.
I loved that movie. Carry on, Kurt. Sorry.
So I have other alternate non-gaming end of the business, which is I went to see some live bands, which was absolutely amazing. I saw 9 Inch Nails in the Royal Festival Hall.
Was Matt
the Royal
there?
Festival Hall, an orchestral environment made for classical music. 9 Inch Nails.
Was Matt there?
I didn't see him. No.
Didn't you go and see him?
I have been to
Stone Age.
I have been to 9 Inch Nails with Matt. Sorry. Yes, I went to Queens of Stone Age.
Yeah. So I remember seeing you saying that other people were moaning about it, but you were like really high on seeing them.
Tons of whinging online about services, about toilets, about not being able to get a drink, about missing bands because they were too busy queuing for drinks. And I'm like, it was a one-day festival. You have to be strategic about when you go to the bar, the toilets, the food, everything else. So, and also, if it's a one-day festival thing, personally, you get there right at the start. And you do everything, you buy a t-shirt early and you do everything else early. And then you go sit on the grass with a pint and you watch bands sat on the grass from like 12. And it was an awesome day. So by the time it got to like 7 o'clock and the queues were so long from 2 different bars that they crossed over each other and got in a mess, I didn't care. I'd had 4 or 5 pints by then. So we did get more drinks after that in the end. Because Cesar was a god amongst queuing, but and just when Queens of Stone Age were on stage, there were no queues. He was like, I don't mind, I'll go now. It'll be 5 minutes. He was back with like 4 pints. I was like, you god, that's amazing. And because people next to us came back with pints, I'm like, how did you do that? There's no queues now, and he was gone. It was great. I didn't experience the things that people complained bitterly and in entitled ways about things that were wrong with that whole weekend, because it was 3 different things. It was like Liam Gallagher on the Friday, Queens of Stone Age and Friends, with the Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop was amazing. And the Hives, they were amazing as well. And lots of other cool new bands.
The Hives write their own music, yeah.
I can see what you did there.
I don't.
I like them.
I'm kind of lost.
The Hives?
Yeah.
They're a Swedish kind of...
Oh, no, I know who the Hives are. They were popular while I was in secondary school.
Yes. Yes, I was older at the time. But, yeah. But a lot of their music sounds a lot like other things.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's what Benji was alluding to.
In fact, I know it got used in the Lego Rock Band game.
I don't know that, but yeah.
As one of the boss stages. There we go.
But people complaining that they couldn't get to the bar, they couldn't get to food, they couldn't get to anything else. I had amazing noodles, I had drinks, I had everything. It was great. I think people didn't treat it like a festival. They treated it like, I want to go to this gig, I want to get drinks when I want. It's 40,000 people. It's going to be an arse, isn't it? That's the way I looked at it. That was great. I enjoyed it.
Fair enough.
How were 9 Inch Nails?
So yeah, I've read mixed reviews of that as well. It was a definitely a unique experience of 9 Inch Nails because it's a small venue and it was an arena tour gig, or it became an arena tour that then brought into this tiny little venue of like 3,500 seated or something it is. I loved it. It was fantastic. People complain about sound, but when you listen to interviews and see what they were going for a loose, rough, more early 90s kind of loose sound. Not them electronic early 90s like they were. I mean, that they were. It was really good. Short answer to your question. Utterly amazing. I loved it. It's quite a lot of. There's one guy who was almost right behind me filmed several tracks that are on YouTube and quite well as well. Modern phones are really good for this now. Yeah, they were really good.
I hate to sound old though, but I just get very annoyed.
You get annoyed. I can see them all. I see every phone
through their phone. It's like, no, be here, enjoy this.
So I used to think that. I used to think exactly that, and I used to be the person because I see over everybody else. So I see everybody holding their phone up, and at times all you see are phones. But somewhere on the way, I think it was I saw Josh Homme doing an acoustic, Lito and Queens of Stone Age doing an acoustic solo gig in Royal Festival Hall a few years ago, and that was an amazing gig. I loved it. Seated, acoustic, quiet. He was drunk. It was fantastic. He came on. I've never seen him come on so drunk because he was nervous as well. on his own, it was a really unique gig. But that gig, there are tons of videos of it on YouTube, and I really like that there are tons of videos on YouTube of that gig, and that changed my mind because suddenly you can go, I can watch bits of that again. I can, and that specifically of that gig. Most of the things I don't really want to, but that gig is so different. So I don't get as annoyed as I used to.
Yeah.
And
okay.
phones are everywhere. Everybody's recording everything all the time anyway.
Even when, okay, I've got two separate stories where A, I enjoy a mobile phone reminding me of a song, and B, where I was trying to watch at the cinema a movie, and the movie-going audience were all on their phones texting, and I got angry.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah.
Told the one next to me that they needed to put their phone away, but that was a different culture. They were Spanish exchange students killing time, supposedly.
Right.
But it really pissed me off because I wanted to see that movie really badly.
I'm just going to say, if you have paid to see a film, right, then I think everyone should abide by Mark Commode's rules of the cinema, so that you have to even take in quiet snacks. There will be no talking.
Or eat your popcorn during trailers and adverts.
I mean, yes. Also valid. I'm trying to think what was the loudest snack
which
he
children do anyway.
Children they arrived 25 minutes late into the film. They used their mobile phones to find their seats, which blinded a lot of the people that were in there, and then proceeded to text. So the nearest person next to me, who then got their mobile phone out and joined them, I stood up, went over there, must have looked like fucking death incarnate, because he very scaredly put his mobile phone away, and his friend stopped eating the popcorn as well.
Here we go.
What's the other half? Let's Benj, what's the other half?
The other half was a gig that we went to back when mobile phones were pretty shite. I could not remember the song. The beat was stuck in my head for days. Went on YouTube, found a very even poor quality upload of it. I got the song, well, I got at least the lyrics, was able to find the song because of that mobile phone poor recording, and that is one of my favorite songs to this date. So and it reminded me of a really great time that I had. So I can totally relate to what Kurt says, and I can totally hate mobile phone users at the same time.
For reference, Mark Commode's the Wittertainment Rule Code of Conduct for Cinemas. No eating of anything harder than a soft roll with no filling. No slurping of drinks. No rustling of super high density Russell-O-Matic extra Russell bags.
Nice.
No irresponsible parenting, so your 5-year-old does not want to come with you to see the latest 12A. No hobby includes knitting, drug dealing, model aeroplane assembly, fighting, having sex, or updating Facebook. No talking. No mobile phone usage at all. Not even on flight mode. This isn't an airplane; it's a cinema. No kicking of seats. No arriving late, and most importantly, no shoe removal.
So that's good. I like that. That's sound. The
posted on the door of every cinema.
Is Mark Commode the Channel 4?
BBC.
He's the Radio 5.
Yeah, lots of different BBC. He came originally from Radio 1 years and years ago.
Well, him and Simon Mayo used to do the films on Radio 1, and now they do them on Radio 5.
Did he used to have a quiff?
Yes, he's got a big quiff. Like
he used to appear when he was very young on the afternoon show with maybe even Steve Wright, but certainly with I can't remember his name now. It's gone. Doesn't matter. So the worst gig one of the worst gigs I went to, or worst gig experiences I had, was a gig I was looking forward to so much, and that was Beck. And it was Beck, and I love Beck. Yeah. Beck in the Shepherd's Bush Empire, and it was weird because it was an amazing gig, in as much as the music was really good, but so many of the people who were there were just stood around talking all the way through the entire thing. So support acts, people talk through support acts. Totally get that. That just happens. You've got to suck that up. You have to shut, if you want to try and enjoy a support act, you often have to shut everybody else out and listen. So going to watch Wolf Alice when they were supporting Rudimental. Most of the people wanted to see Rudimental. I didn't. I wanted to see Wolf Alice. So I had to deliberately ignore everybody else and just get into Wolf Alice because most people weren't interested.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And I knew that was the case. This was Beck, the main act. Most people stood around. It felt like just talking. All it like it was a bar, and they were just like the band in a bar. It was weird. And there was no phones involved. None of the usual kind of noise we just talked about. It was just the fact that people were just clearly there to either say they had been there, or just because they went to the Empire and that's what they did on a Thursday night, or I don't know.
You always get the odd bad live thing.
Oh, totally.
Just crowds don't cooperate.
Well, crowd is a really interesting one. So having been to quite a lot of gigs, I've got a photo album full of tickets for my gigs. The best gigs for me are the cohesive crowd gigs. So they are the Nine Inch Nails gigs, the Tool gigs, the Deftones, so the alternative, slightly heavier bands where the crowd come together as one, as a kind of an entity. The worst gigs have been things like Beck. U2 was one of my worst gigs because the crowd never pulls together because there's just too much of a diverse audience. Yeah. Queens of the Stone Age was quite diverse actually, but we were a group on and it was because we were just together. That seemed to, I don't know, isolate us from. And there were people around us who were of the same mindset. There were people who weren't, but it didn't seem to matter. And it was that kind of day. It was more of a festival type crowd.
Yeah.
Festival crowds are odd and different. Yeah. I enjoy gigs where it's interesting going to gigs like Elbow, where it's not that hardcore alternative crowd. It's a mixture of Six Music and Radio 2, which is a whole different new experience, but it still works. It's just different.
Can't you hear those cavalry drums?
Right.
In your equilibrium.
Because I need a drink and stuff. So
yeah, me too.
Is that because I started singing Beck?
No, I think I've actually got some Beck on the playlist.
I love Beck.
Baby Driver soundtrack. Deborah.
I do like Beck, but he is a Scientologist. You have to point that out.
I don't care.
The artist from the art.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Tom Cruise, totally. You don't probably.
Oh no, Tom Cruise and his hair still provide wonderful filmic entertainment.
Do you know what? Today, because I've been off sick, I've been watching lots of Cinema Wins YouTube, where he just basically goes through and just says how cool things are with almost no negativity at all. It's a really cool YouTube channel of just. I watched Edge of Tomorrow, and he was just talking about Tom Cruise, and it's so good, so much fun. All positivity all the time.
Oh no, I tell a lie. I do not have any Beck on the playlist.
Have you not got the Baby Driver soundtrack? I thought you'd like that.
I think I've listened to it, but it's the playlist is my 2000 track stick on random, see what I get thing.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the B's, and I've got Basement Jacks, The Beautiful South, Big Giant Circles, Black Sabbath, Blackmore's Night, the Blue Man Group, Blue Oyster Cult.
Okay.
So it runs the gamut.
Agreed, yes.
I love my Spotify playlist.
Anyway.
So I'm on Amazon. I think I might need to switch to Spotify.
It's